Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 259. Back down in the basement to talk about another week of professional wrestling with my co-host and teenage son, Jack. Say hello.
Hola.
Hola. You can navigate. Timestamps will take you wherever you want to go. We'll banter for a bit before we get into wrestling news. AEW Dynamite deep dive, some trivia, some Raw, some NXT, and then we'll get out of here. It's a beautiful day. I'm trying to get out and see that sunshine. What have you been doing with your week off, first week off of the summer?
Nothing.
You worked a bit?
Yeah.
And then
went to the mall
once. I've been pickleballing my brains out. Played 2 sessions yesterday, about 5 hours of pickleball total.
Indeed.
Tried disc golf. You didn't come with me. You should. You'll like it, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. And the course that I went to is completely empty and not challenging because it's beginner. I thought it was cool.
Makes sense.
And then it's already taken me down a dark path because you know how I bug you about being a collector of collections? You have collector tendencies, true or false?
I mean,
he broadly
right
gestures
here
to all the stuff around him, yeah. And I collect microphones on a new one today, actually.
Getting discs now.
Getting discs because they're like, depending if you scavenge for deals, it's like, oh, it's only $12 for this disc or like $15 or I'm sure really good ones are expensive, but I don't.
I would assume so. But
I don't buy really good.
There's the rabbit hole again.
I don't really buy super good stuff. I will super mega deep dive into like what are the best budget ones.
That's
like
true. That's what you've been doing with the pickleball paddles.
I don't have one expensive microphone. I don't have one expensive pickleball paddle, but I have many of each.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you've got a bunch, but I guess you haven't like gone nuts on any.
At
least
microphones?
Not horribly, yeah.
I got too many for sure. Maybe someday I don't want to say review them on YouTube because who am I? I'm not qualified to review them, but just like talk into them and talk about them and let people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, kind of review.
It is, I guess, but it would just be my
but like
uneducated
still
opinion.
Something.
I guess that's half of the internet, at least, right?
That's most of the internet.
Yeah, so
actually.
I don't know. Not much else has been going on. I'm drinking iced coffee today. If we go back to our early episodes of What You Drinking.
Yeah, I feel like it's an odd choice for someone who's very staunchly a regular coffee person.
Your mother offered. It was some social media video about how to turn instant coffee into good iced coffee. And there's cinnamon in it, and I don't love cinnamon. Still good.
That also just feels like a weird choice.
But if she makes it again without the cinnamon,
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but I don't know. The cinnamon, I don't know. I don't think I'd put that in a beverage.
How did you not? When I asked what you've been up to, how did you not mention the unbelievable market we went to yesterday?
Yeah.
How did that not? Wow, that was disappointing.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember.
We've been before.
Are you sure it's that one, though?
Yes, that exact one. And it was at least double or triple the size. Anyways, we took a little out to a farmer's market not far from where we are, and we've been before, and it was...
There's some cool stuff, but like it was really
like
small.
One little row of maybe, a dozen...
Dozen vendors, probably.
Yeah, but we still found stuff to buy. That fruit thing you got was bananas. No pun intended.
It was odd, but not like bad. It was just very strange.
It was just
like
a whole
juice cup with a bunch of sliced fruit in there.
Yeah.
It was weird, but
tons of fruit.
I kind of liked it, but I also thought it was very strange.
Yeah, but that's what those things are for, because it's trying out the stuff from other cultures.
I don't mind that though.
You've always been into that, especially snack foods of other cultures. You are very much into. You'll grab chips or whatever from grocery stores all the time. But anyways, I don't know. Anything else you want to discuss? I'm looking to record and get back out in the sun. Your mother's out pruning trees.
We've begun, quote-unquote, production on the year-end stuff.
Oh, yeah, you've begun.
I've begun my...
It's summer vacation, and this kid's sitting in the family room across from me just typing away like he's writing a dissertation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're not in school. Slow down.
It's either I was doing that or it's the time crunch quizzes that I do.
And you also had to figure out, because you're about to be booted off your school email.
I had to make my own drive. But yeah, I've recovered all of my necessary documents.
Which is all podcast stuff, probably.
Pretty much. And I need to maybe recoup my photography photos, and that's probably about it.
Yeah, that's good. So get that done, because do you know when? I don't know when they're kicking you out, but
I thought they would have already, honestly.
Me too, but maybe they give you the summer. Maybe as of registration, that might be it, because you could still technically register.
Oh, for like what?
Even if you graduated, some people still will they'll be like, oh, I realize I need grade 12 chemistry for what I want to do now. I'll come back and take a chem.
Yeah.
So it might be waiting until that.
That's true.
I don't know.
You can just cut it off now and then it's like, oh, you need to come back and
Yes.
your drive is
Once
cooked.
we know you're not registered,
That might be it, yeah. Because I would have assumed it would be done already.
Me too. But that's just me speculating. And speaking of speculation, because I do definitely have some rumors, get into our first segment. It's looking at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. I started out hot on my news search, and then it sort of tapered off. Hot's a strong word, but like, when it's like,
it wasn't like a horrible week.
The first couple things I looked at are notable, That almost never happens, it feels like, these weeks. First thing I got, and maybe I'm stealing from you. I like when that happens, though, so it's fine. Because that's the prep work we do. We don't even know what each other are going to talk about.
Well, part of the reason I think why we do that is because what if there's something interesting that I have that you don't have, but now by me asking that, now you know what it's like the element of surprise. So that's why.
And you get our visceral reaction to things.
That's why I like it, because not even that we're unprepared, but it's like I don't want to tell you what I have, because then if I have something funny, then it's funny.
We're actually very prepared, just individually.
I'm not even joking. Like, I genuinely, like, that's why like sometimes we'll do a check, but like I try not to, like, if there's something I want to.
Well, that's sometimes why I don't think we talk about. We watch the shows together, but we don't talk about it a ton as it's happening.
Sometimes we do, but sometimes we don't.
And I think part of that is, like, we have to get better at, like, when you have those conversations, talk all we want, but act like we didn't hear. But we're just like, but we always go, as we already talked about.
Yeah.
I think smarter podcasters are just selling it like, oh, it's just happening now, even though we already talked about it.
Well,
we're not that smart.
Also are probably not in the same household 24/7.
That's true. Although we won't be soon.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Sorry, first thing I have is good news for AEW, right? Did you hear the all-in numbers?
I did not, actually.
So,
see, this is why we can't.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Exhibit A, Your Honor. So
because I was really interested in the ratings.
Tony Khan revealed that the gate for All In Texas has already surpassed 2.5 million, on its way to a new record for the company in North America, and on pace to become the largest non-WWE pay-per-view in North American history in terms of attendance.
That's great.
So huge gate for them, which again, when WWE does it, we're not impressed.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit different.
I would say so, because I know they're not like charging as ridiculous.
And they're still trying to sell out places. And
they're definitely trying to sell it out.
But the bigger thing, I guess, is the attendance, right?
No, that's really cool, though.
And WWE won't like hearing that either.
Which is why I will like hearing
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking for All In, we have from Collision, they added Cole versus Fletcher for the TNT title.
Yes, that
no
makes
doubt
sense.
Fletcher's crowning moment at a big show.
I would think so.
It has to be.
Not to ruin our
to
picks, but yes.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. So they had a segment on Collision, because I think it was taped, so I already knew the results, where it was Cole was cutting a promo, so Fletcher and Garcia came out. They were going to do a triple threat, but since they had already booked Fletcher, Garcia for the show, that became number one contender, and obviously, why would Garcia win that? That's stupid.
That's crazy.
And then also, I was telling you, Christian and Nick Wayne of the Patriarchy are supposed to be added to the tag title match at All In to make it a three-way.
Yes.
Which apparently last year they made father-son tag titles, so I do lean towards that.
Why do they feel the need to do that? To make it 4 teams?
3.
3. What's wrong with just... I don't know.
I assume for storyline purposes, because the original plan for All In would have been the Christian Copeland thing, but he respectfully, and I agree, wanted to finish the Nick Wayne storyline, because they put a lot of effort into that, and I agree that they should have finished it.
Feels like they want to get the titles off Hurt Syndicate without them getting pinned, maybe?
I think so. I feel like...
Spoiling another pick?
Patriarchy probably win that, so you can do the Father-Son Tag Champs thing, which I think would be really funny.
They could have a very fun heel run.
And I think you could set up Nick Wayne somehow turning heel on Christian. Of course. Because I think that's the necessary part of this.
Yes, Christian has to. We keep going like, how is Christian going to be a babyface?
That's the thing in the back of my mind.
But he has to.
And I think you can start to facilitate that through the tag title run, and hopefully that keeps the tag titles prominent as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like that has to be a play. And as much as that sucks for Jetsby, because I honestly would really like them to win too, that's kind of something I feel like we could hold up on. Especially if you want to have them win the titles at All Out, since Speedball's Canadian.
And you could take some time to build them as a team and characters. They're just two new dudes joined together because
I mean, I think we kind of took a step this week, but I'll talk about that.
We'll get there for sure. Sticking with AEW, I saw Lashley. Did you see he was sort of talking about the difference between WWE and AEW from his perspective? Direct quote, I think WWE had their agenda and what they wanted to do, and you had to stay on the course with what they were doing. I think with AEW, Tony Khan gives these guys an opportunity to voice their opinion, to kind of run their stories the way they would like, and they have some say in it. Of course, he's the final say, so if it's a no, it is. But he gives these guys an opportunity to kind of hear their voice a little and make changes accordingly. That sounds fairly... I mean, we obviously know nothing about anything, but that sounds pretty fair.
Sounds pretty par for the course.
And I don't even feel like that's him being bitter with an axe to grind. It's just him going like, here's the difference.
I think there were times under Vince more so where he did get booked properly. I mean, obviously there was the whole Ashley Sisters thing, but then like her business for a while was good before they inexplicably cut it. But like
left money on the table.
He won the title twice, right?
Yeah.
And I think MVP was partially complaining that like Triple H made him a mid-carder when he took over.
Yep.
And didn't do much with him. But like Lashley had his times in the top, but probably not as much as he probably should have, I think. But
and I don't even know if he's saying it as like, I guess the implication is one way is better than the other, but it's not like he's
not outright saying that,
right? But I think that's a fair assessment, probably.
I would say so, yeah. Good news is that Darby Allin's expected back soon, having completed his Mount Everest crap.
So where's he fit in?
I don't know. I say we save him until after All In, obviously. That could be your big, like, Raw after Mania does stuff, so we do Dynamite after All In, you have him return. And then
the reaction kid's going to get.
I know. Since he's been gone all year.
Yeah. And people love him for just in general. Us included. You especially.
You can kind of slot him in wherever, honestly.
You can. I know.
I mean, you could even put him against Hangman if you want to do babyface. Maybe not the smartest idea, but
what was storyline took him out?
Death Riders.
Okay.
Remember, because we were saying he could be the Sting thing, but then he was dead.
Yeah, you were calling for that forever.
I mean, I'm very happy where we ended up, actually.
Yeah. Or he shows up and screws over Hangman, and it's heel Darby Allin. What?
Yeah, he helps. That would be super WCW. He got taken out by them.
He joins them.
Then he helps the Death Riders.
Wait, where did that just happen?
Oh, wait.
Who just formed a thing and it was like, it was Rollins.
Oh,
with
Rollins
Reed.
with Bronson Reed. Yeah,
murdered me, so now I want you in my group. You tried to end my life, literally.
You murdered me, now I want to work for you.
That's it. That's interesting, yeah. What else do I have here? And this will tie into when I get to Raw, going through that as well. Shocking, this one. Talent reportedly not thrilled with WWE Evolution plans. And of course, this would be rumors. Anytime I hear talent reported, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Complaints about when it's going on, right? The weekend of All In. Apparently, there's like a Beyonce concert in the same town, which, say what you will, that's still huge
big.
deal.
It's Beyonce.
And it's MLB All-Star Weekend, so in the States, that's a big thing for people that they would be watching, you know what I mean? So
yeah, they kind of... that's something. Why couldn't you just do it the week after? It's not even like that's counter programming All In. So really, what's the purpose of doing it then?
And I would also add, and I'm sure some of them feel this way. I don't think this was in the article. The lack of a build, and
I agree.
They're like less. I'll talk about it a lot on Raw or more on Raw. Like they're less than 2 weeks from this show, and this episode of Raw was them going like, "Oh man, we need to get some stuff booked."
Well, yeah, because
it happens fast and furious on Raw.
Last time they did it, which was 2018, but they had the Becky Charlotte Last Woman Standing, which people really like, but that was also remember Becky's heel turn and their feud, so that was built up really well. I think even Ronda and Nikki Bella, even though that was a weird choice for a main event, that was still something that was built. The Bellas came back, but they turned heel and they built it, right?
Right.
They had Baszler and Kairi Sane, which had been built on NXT. They had the Mae Young Classic final with Storm and Shirai.
Right.
Which, that's just a tournament build, but that's still a build, right? They built things a lot better last time.
And we are super open to an Evolution pay-per-view. I think it's an awesome idea.
Yeah,
but they are not showing that they really care. Right? Like, Afterthought might be strong, but approaching.
I feel like they put an equal amount of effort into Saturday night's main event.
I feel like they're in general in a bit of a creative lull, and you've heard me say that, and I'll talk about it again later. But
little suck.
Anyways, what else do you have? I only have one more.
I have one more. Speaking of women's, that Isla Dawn is reportedly supposed to
You
sign
took
with
it from
AEW.
me. And I was excited to do the whole, like, hey, take a guess of who's coming. So
Odd choice.
Listen, I don't have any problem with Isla Dawn, but does that roster need Isla Dawn?
No.
So...
And we just got Tekla, and she's barely fleshed out.
Still.
Well, because she's been on Collision ever since she came in.
So I don't know.
So we wouldn't have seen Tekla if we didn't watch the 4-hour thing, remember?
Right. That's true.
Because that was technically Collision.
And I think Isla Dawn is totally fine and maybe a bit better than that. But she's not a needle mover. They don't do a great job with that division already.
We need to stop with this loop, but she seems like a good person for TNA.
Basically, if you're done in WWE
but
and we don't want you in AEW,
go to TNA.
Guess what we're going to say?
And then go back to NXT. I was telling you, there's a decent chance you can see Cardona because Dark State attacked him on TNA.
Man, there was like a full-on segment that was just in service of Slammiversary on NXT this week. It's weird. I'm
weird. Figuring out our year and stuff. I do have Dark State in worst faction right now.
They are in the lead, I would say.
I think you'll like the selection for the category so far. I'll just talk about it just because it's Dark State, D'Angelo family.
Yes.
Learning tree. Sorry, you want me to put D'Angelo's in worst feud while I'm here?
Yeah, that is one of my suggestions for sure.
I'll put
worst
Tony
feud, worst story,
D versus
all of
Stacks. I'll do that.
So that was. Did you have any other news? Because that was my last one.
I don't think so. Also, sorry, one I think you'll be proud of is biggest regression for the New Day.
Yes, for sure. Especially coming off Raw this week. Yeah. All right. Well, We'll get into some wrestling specific now. Our deep dive into this past Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. I will say that I liked this week's Dynamite. We both have said it.
I think
it's as much as we sort of talked about it, but I enjoyed it too. So that's a good sign. You can.
I think overall it's really strong, but I'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll get to that as we go. So go ahead.
We kick off the show appropriately with Hangman Page, which I'll mention it again, but I kind of like since we ended off on Hangman Death Rider's business.
Yes, we did
last week.
Very
so I
much
kind of like that it's not like a bookend, but kind of. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
He says he won't say much already, or because he's already said plenty about what it means to him. He will keep his vow to free the world title. Nothing Death Riders will do will be enough. They'll have to kill him before he lets this chance pass him by. He said he won't let the Elite or Death Riders involvement cost him because he's going to welcome them as he expects them to be coming because he wants Texas Death Match at All In. Death Riders music hits. Mox comes out. Mox says at All In, Hangman wants to put all his chips on the table and put everything on the line. Texas Death. He says no, and Hangman doesn't want that. He says Hangman will lose it All In, and the crowd chants bald like he's Ricochet, which is interesting. He says Hangman will not win because he doesn't want to win. He's happy where he is because it's safe and comfortable, and he doesn't want to wake up with the title and all the responsibilities that come with it. He says Hangman won the Owen because it's not the highest, and it's not all the pressure that comes with it. He lives in pressure, and he's much more than the best in the world and the champion. He will show what a world champion looks like, and he says Hangman doesn't have it in him to beat him in a Texas Death, even though he has.
Right, that detail that I guess they hinted at later, right?
They did, and maybe Mox is saying like he doesn't want Texas Death because he doesn't want Texas Death.
I don't know.
Now
it felt like we weren't supposed to remember.
I don't know, a little bit, but I don't think it's that big of a deal.
No.
He says Hangman doesn't have it in him, and he would not walk away from it. Hangman slaps Mox. Mox attacks him. I misspelled takes really bad, so let me just... There
Must
it is.
Fix it.
Yeah. Hangman turns the tide, tries to stab Mox with a fork. Yuta comes in, gets taken out. Shafir slaps Hangman like a lot.
Yeah.
Hangman sends off a Shafir. Yuta grabs his ankle. Claudio is back from whatever sabbatical he was on, and
just
he
need Pac now.
Yeah. Poor guy. I was saying to you, it really sucks that he can't be a part of this.
I know.
Because I really would have loved that for him. But Claudio returns to beat him down, neutralizes the Hangman. Mox and Shafir retreat to the crowd. Hangman kind of gets back to his feet as they're leaving. He asks if that's all they got because he's still standing. Claudio comes back down ringside with Yuta, but the ops come in to kind of back them off.
Yeah, they're like security for the faces right now.
I saw someone say it's been 3 months and they haven't defended the trios titles.
That's crazy, but not surprising.
Not surprising.
No.
The fact that they don't have a title match on All In kind of disappoints me.
Even make Collision like a tag team and trios show then, and you might actually get me. Like that's the focus of every show is tag stuff. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't want it just there because then I have to watch Collision. Like,
that's the bottom line.
I do want to watch Collision. It's just, I don't want anything to be exclusive to one show, but like if we don't have time to choose on here, then yeah, put them more on Collision. I don't mind that, right?
Yes.
Or at least just put some worthwhile stuff on Collision, even if it's not always the same, but just put some worthwhile stuff on there.
It has such a different feel to it when we watch it. It just feels not important. It feels like a B show.
It's like
There's
Rampage, but they extended it and put it a day later.
You're right.
That's why they got rid of Rampage, because it's like we don't need 2 Rampages.
It's almost like they know, and they're like, we don't want you to really miss anything because we know people don't really. We see the ratings. So we don't like they can't put important stuff on there because people don't. It's like a cycle, right? Like people don't watch it because there isn't important stuff on there.
You can't put important stuff on there because no
people
one
aren't watching it.
But that
I
think you should start inching up the importance.
In the days of social media, you would think, right? Because if something suddenly is awesome there, it's going to get clipped and spread everywhere. Yeah, and everyone will. I don't know.
I miss the days of Collision when we had some bangers, like the Bullet Club Gold FTR match. That's never happening on Collision ever again.
It certainly doesn't feel like it the way it is right now.
Or like when... And we say what you want about that weird brand split bullshit with CM Punk, but when CM Punk was there, at least they were putting stuff on there.
Right? That was their.
They were putting stuff on there.
That's true.
I'll give them credit where credit is due. They were putting stuff on there. They had Ricky Starks feuding with Danielson on there.
Yep.
They had stuff. So I'll say at least the initial Collision era, they were doing strong.
They were.
I didn't love the soft brand split, but I'll say it did more for Collision's importance at least.
Absolutely. But we're okay with it not being important because
we still didn't watch it back then.
I hate
much.
the time
Correct me if I'm
slot
wrong, right? I just don't like Saturday.
I agree.
Friday is even a bit of a tough sell, but if Collision was always on Friday, I feel like we'd be able to make a bit more of an effort.
I think so.
But because sometimes we record on Friday, but
yeah.
Then at least if we were recording on Saturday, we'd have the you know what I mean.
And then we'd be talking about it from a week ago. And even when we're doing our cold takes on pay-per-views from a week ago, I struggle sometimes to be like, to remember. That happened.
And so
that would be
that was like
week
to week. Yeah. So I don't mind checking out like when they put Continental Classic on there, but other than that, it's like because that we kept up with. But anyways, Shafir got in the ring behind Hangman, goes for briefcase shot. Hangman blocks it, grabs the case, he holds it up, shouts at Mox to give him Texas Death. Mox obliges. Hangman says he has what it takes. If Mox needs a reminder, then here it is. And he proceeds to hit a buckshot on Shafir, which people loved.
I liked that.
I did enjoy it. I really like that. Like when she took a Blade Runner too, way back.
Yeah. So I'm happy in the sense that Hangman is a smart babyface, right? He's not an idiot. He's like, I know
agree.
you guys are going to cheat like hell.
I like that.
And then you're kind of like, well, then why Texas Death? Well, it allows him access to whatever he wants to fight them off.
And he also has his own allies.
He can have people come as well, right?
And also, the only time he lost Texas Death was against Swerve. So, like I said, he's beaten Moxley, but he's also beaten like Archer and Adam Cole. Like it's kind of a specialty match for him.
But what's he gonna like? How does he take it further than what he's already done? Like I get nervous.
That's true because
what is he gonna do?
He staple gunned a man. He needled a guy.
Drank his blood.
Cinder block.
Literally.
Drank his blood. Thumbtacks. Whatever. I don't know.
But
I mean, given that it's Moxley, there will be something crazy because Moxley is more than willing.
And Mox is doing the mind games, right? I kind of like the little nugget of you won the Owen Hart because it's not the biggest thing.
And like you don't want to win this,
right?
I like that.
You're not capable of winning the big one.
That's the kind of stuff I think Mox like needs to be doing, right? So I really like that he's settled into a good angle from his point of view.
Yeah, and I'm annoyed that nobody's there to help Hangman.
Eventually,
even though he has a security team, they took forever to get out there.
It was a little odd, but it's a nitpick.
And I'm concerned. Was it just the crowd there? I feel like Mox and the Riders were getting like the wrong kind of heat.
What do you mean?
It felt like the crowd is almost mocking him instead of rooting against him, and like they're resigned to the fact they have to endure him, and not that they really want to see him lose.
I don't know.
I did think the buckshot like to Shafir was just like
a good.
In case you forget, the guy you're dealing with in Texas Death doesn't care and will do anything.
Oh my god, I saw this such a funny post. So this guy posted a screenshot of someone I think on Twitter saying in AEW it's okay to hit women, referring this spot. But then the guys who screenshot it on the next slide put a picture of Randy Orton RKOing Nia Jax. So it's like You can't even see it. And I saw someone say, like, I guarantee this guy was okay with Orton RKOing Nia Jax. Remember Baron Corbin hit End of Days to Becky once?
Yeah.
Like, so I just thought that was funny because it's like, don't act like this is.
And I'm for do what you want to do, right? Either it's not real. So, like, I don't know. Anyways.
It's not real. And they're all signing off on it.
My only problem, remember how mad I used to get on TNA?
With the mixed
because
tags,
they would put them
yeah.
in matches together, but only have the women get offense on the men and have to find ways for
That's
the men
why I don't like
to,
mixed tags.
It
but
was crazy.
I don't mind it here.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. But like, I thought this was a good segment to open things. Like, it's the big angle, so I like that it's either opening.
It was lengthy for sure.
Opening or starting the show. Yeah, but not a bad lengthy, I thought. The crowd is really hyped in general, though, so I think that helped. And Hangman cut a good promo. I'm glad we're making this Texas Death. 1, I think it fits. 2, I think it makes sense from a storyline perspective, like you were saying. And it just allows for other shenanigans to come out as we know we're getting. And plus, honestly, I think it helps Moxley in this style. Like, I think it's just going to be a bloodbath. I think it's going to be awesome. Honestly, this genuinely makes me way more excited for the match itself. Because I was excited for the moment, but like, a singles match, like, I don't think it'll be bad. I think it'll be pretty good. But this just sounds so much more appealing.
It makes it... Like, it'll be main event of their biggest show, right?
It feels like it'll be the end game, and I imagine a lot of interference on both ends. So. Kind of like a more interesting, for us, version of Mania 40 last year with the Bloodline rules and all that.
As long as it's not like, well, it's going to be probably. There'll be, like I'm saying, so many people coming out. But
probably, but like, I feel like it'll be so great, though, because I feel like it's been built up at least.
Do you think?
Like, I think Swerve, the big thing is going to be Swerve helping Hangman in a crucial moment.
Could
I think
Darby return to help too?
I could see that,
and just have it like
because then that gives Moxley something.
Huge spots on
that gives Moxley
show.
Something to do after he loses the title too, because Darby can be like, "Hey, you took me off TV. I'm going to beat your ass."
It doesn't need to be for a belt,
right?
Okay.
So I actually agree with that. I think
too.
Darby could be a crucial point, and then I think the big moment is Swerve helping Hangman, because I think that's what we're really setting up. And like I was saying last week, there's no real way to set up them, I think, coming together on TV. I think it's better to save that for the match. Like, I just imagine the pop in the big-ass stadium when Swerve, when it matters most, he helps Hangman, sets him up for the buckshot, and that's how that needs to be the finish.
So, not to get derail us, but all of this, is the Death Riders page stuff amazing storytelling? No. I think Hangman's doing an awesome job, and the story isn't bad, and the Swerve stuff is awesome. It's looking so much better with direct comparison to Raw and stuff right now, because I've been telling you, it feels so paint by numbers and so uninspired. Like, they're not taking any risks or really trying.
I think like it's also because
at least AEW
Hangman's at the front. When Hangman's at the front, that's when they come
He's
through.
super interesting.
Yeah.
And the dynamic with Swerve is super interesting.
And Ospreay.
So...
And I think Death Riders have been so much better in the last like month or so.
And meanwhile, like, you had Rollins group and we were both really excited for it. I was really excited for them. It's really just spinning its wheels.
Like, even go back to when we were talking about the Raw after Mania, I was super excited when Breakker came to join Rollins. Me too. I thought that was super cool. And I thought Heyman turning on Roman and Punk in the main event was super cool. And it's just kind of fizzled out from there.
Again, moments, not stories. Yeah. That moment was awesome, and then
Mania 41 as a worst pay-per-view nominee because it was a really crummy Mania.
Yeah, it was.
And we don't really have much else for worst pay-per-views right now because like best we really like Rumble and Chamber for WWE at least. So like those are there. But anyways, I'm really excited for the main event. I think this did a lot to make things more interesting. So I'm really excited. I think they delivered a banger under the stipulation before, too. So there's a precedent for these two doing well with this format. So I'm really excited. And like you were saying, I thought the buckshot to Shafir was a really cool exclamation point for the segment. Got a big pop and kind of makes Heyman look like a bit of a badass. So I think works really well. Then we moved to our opening match, which is Mercedes Moné defending the TBS title against Mina Shirakawa.
How dare you? You said you didn't write it down, and you didn't. How dare you?
I didn't.
I'm a completist.
I told you I wasn't.
Rachel Someone is with Tony Storm, is my note.
It's the girl playing Lois Lane in Superman with Tony Storm. I really couldn't have cared less.
I wrote Superman promotion. Tony gives Rachel wrestling names since she wrestled in high school. Not even sure how this helped promote the movie other than reminding people it exists.
I was going to see this movie anyways.
It got me. Take my money.
They're not doing anything to change it.
And if Tony Storm's not in it somewhere, well then, I'm going to be
I think this is actually the definition of a useless promotion because I was already going to see it. So this did nothing to change me.
And I was never going to see
it. And you're never going to see it.
And it did nothing to change that.
So, really, what was the point?
0 for 2 in this giant studio.
At the very least, you could say it's like negative ad if it swayed me from not seeing it, or a useful ad if it made you want to see it, but it didn't either. So it's definition of useless.
No.
Tony Storm's sitting at ringside with like food and stuff, kind of like Monet used to do, and she's just sitting there like just mute the whole time.
She didn't say anything.
What was the point?
I don't mean to spoil the key part of this match. This, I think, is the first time that a wrestling cake has survived. Like, to put
that's a good point, actually.
That was Chekhov's cake, you know?
That is it's always Chekhov's contract signing table.
So they brought it was teased, but that cake stayed intact.
That is actually, I didn't even think of that. That is actually crazy.
It's cruel.
That's like a contract signing. It's like they put the table in the corner to set up a spot, and then they're just like, nah.
No.
That is actually crazy.
Yep.
Excalibur talked about Monet winning all of her belts, and he actually did make an Ultimo Dragon J Crown reference, which I've talked about.
Yes, you have.
So that's pretty crazy, but yeah, she needs like a few more belts to match the J Crown. But the cool thing about the J Crown too is that it was like 8 belts under one thing. Because she's just winning belts willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly is correct.
One of her belts isn't even... One of her belts...
Isn't a belt.
One of her belts isn't a championship because it's the tournament belt, right? The Owen belt. She's just carrying... I love how, like, Hangman was, like... He took his belt off the first Dynamite after because he's like, this is not a belt I defend, so I don't need to wear it. I'll give it back. And Monet's just, like, carrying it around like she won another title.
I mean, that's good heel stuff,
it does make sense. I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
But, like... It's different from Ultimate Dragon because one of her belts is a tournament belt, so one of her belts isn't even a championship, we'll say, right?
Okay.
And then one of her championships is 2 belts because the Rev Pro one, remember, it's the 2 belts, it's the Rev Pro belt and that black and silver one, the Queen of Southside, because it's some unification with another promotion. I remember reading something about it, and it's like her choice to carry around the 2 belts or 1 belt because I think the Rev Pro...
She's choosing fewer belts?
No, she's choosing more.
She
could just use 1 belt.
Got you.
But she's carrying both. Because, like, I think Oku still has the men's title, but he only carries around the 1. I think he has that option, too. Right? But anyways.
I mean, strong heel work, I guess.
It does make sense. I'm just saying, it's like how Omega had 4 belts, but he had the Impact in TNA title, remember?
Yeah.
So it's like, she's no Ultimo Dragon. Less
she
belts.
Is not.
Oh, yeah. Less belts, but also, like, less cheap manner of having belts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Cheap manner.
Middle Rope Meteora, shocker, shock horror. Monet mocks Storm's taunt where she like rolls around the ring.
Yeah.
So that was funny, I guess. I don't know.
Rigging endorsement coming for this match by any chance?
Monet locks Mina in the bank statement, pushes off the bottom rope to avoid it, but that kind of roll off allows Mina to kind of slip out and counter into a figure 4. But Monet rolls to the ropes and they roll to the floor. Hurricanrana, Tornado DT on the floor from Mina. A running Meteora, shock horror from the apron from Monet. Basement Meteora, oh my goodness.
3
And
already?
Then a sunset flip powerbomb into the corner from Monet. Heavy knee targeting from Mina, which honestly, if she's doing that many Meteoras, kudos to you.
Yep.
Heavy knee targeting, and then she locks in the figure 4. Monet gets the ropes. A couple finisher counters both ways. Then Mina caught Monet with a couple rolling elbows. A roundhouse kick, spinning back fist a la Eddie Kingston. I would love it if he came back too.
He's got to at some point.
But he got like crazy hurt. So I really hope he's back soon too. I low-key miss him.
All the bones in his legs, didn't he?
He like injured his leg 2 different ways, I think. Yeah. I hope he's back though. We love Eddie Kingston. He's awesome. He's our Sami Zayn. And then the glamorous driver from Mina for a near fall. Tombstone lung blower from Monet for 2, which that's a pretty sick move.
It is. Have to be fair.
To her.
Yep.
Mina goes for the figure 4 again. Monet cowers an inside cradle for the win. There's a bit after where she attacked Mina. Storm runs her off. Storm gets beat down too. Champagne Luther's face. Not cake though.
Yeah. Crazy. And early on, do you remember that Monet has Storm's face on the bottom of her boots? And commentary worked real hard to convince us that it's like cool or intimidating. Or
I thought that was a
disrespectful.
Very odd choice.
I don't know.
Or just anything.
It was weird. Oh man, did I have some problems with commentary on NXT this week again? But
okay, I thought you were saying here, and I was like, I didn't know.
No, NXT. It's getting frustrating.
I thought this was solid and a lot better than the 4-way we had last week because that was atrocious.
So I thought the first few minutes of this were kind of bland, and then it picked up, and then
I really like both of them in the ring, so I thought it definitely found its footing.
And even though one of the reasons this show, even though I said I liked it, is going to lose marks, is because you'll hear me say match after match after match, no doubt who is winning, but they like Shirakawa worked her way into a couple of good near falls.
I agree.
Even though there's 0-0 chance.
My
right?
main nitpick of this, and I'll mention in my overall show thoughts though, is that this does nothing to further the feud.
No,
for the
it didn't.
All In, and the post match does that. Like this adds nothing. And my one thing nitpick about the match was I didn't like the small package finish because I feel like with Storm, especially, we've done it so much lately, especially in women's matches, it feels overdone.
And she should probably decisively beat Shirakawa at this.
I don't mind protecting Mina. I just don't like specifically that it feels like the same finish we've been seeing a couple times from. I think Mina beat Storm with a small package. Right? Storm's won a couple matches with a small package. Like it just feels like we're doing it a lot lately in Storm's orbit, and it's just kind of irritating.
Yeah,
but other than
that was Storm's finisher for a while, right? When she
beat May with that, right?
When she was non-timeless.
Right, that
she was time full.
Yes.
Is that how that works?
Yes,
time
that
full,
is yes. Other than that, though, I thought this was a pretty good match.
I liked it.
It started off like you said, like fine, but I thought they worked their way into a pretty good match. And Mina had some chances there. Honestly, like it would have been interesting if she wanted just to like piss off Monet. Like you could have done that, but obviously there's no chance. This was a good match. This feud for Monet and Storm lacks the high tension and stakes and depth and personal grudge that the men's world title has. Like you compare what they did at the beginning of the show to build that match to what they're doing to build the women's match here, and it just sucks especially because since Monet holds the mid-card belt and is challenging for the world title, you're putting all your eggs in one basket in terms of women's title matches on the show. So you're not gonna get Monet defending the TBS title. Hell, if you want to do cross-promotional stuff, you're not even going to get the CMLL title on there, because guess what? That's on Monet too. Want to do something with Rev Pro? Nope. Monet has that too. Yep. So it just kind of sucks because last year, at least, we had a couple of women's matches. I think it was Storm and Mariah May, and then Monet and Baker.
It feels like the basket they're putting their eggs in, they've been kind of lazy on, right?
I agree. They're putting all their eggs in one basket, but then just kind of sliding that basket out.
It's too bad.
So it kind of sucks. And I really hope we can do something in the last week, but I'm a little skeptical just because like we've had this time to do it.
And what could they do in a week that you're going to be like, all right.
I'm just praying to do something because it would also help if they just use Collision a little more worthwhile, because you have 2 shows a week where you could be building stuff.
And the match, honestly, will probably be
I think the match will be really good, but that's the thing with Storm's matches a lot, is they're often quite good. It's just the storyline is also often not there.
Unless it's with Mariah May, who's a genius.
Unless it's with Mariah May, is now being wasted
on
I
NXT.
hate it so much. Even same with Monet too, because remember last year she had those matches with Statlander that were really good. But the build was just like,
Yeah.
But so it sucks.
And listen, we're here to call WWE out for it and AEW.
And like I'll praise AEW because, like I said, I'm really a fan of what they've been doing with the Death Riders Hangman Star. I think they built it really well.
Everything's awesome.
But that also just shines a contrast on where it's lacking, which is here. It's very clearly lacking. Then we get the Bucks in segment. Matt gifts them a limo with the company credit card because it's Diamond 300 and they're in their home state. I guess they're not far from the hometown. Then they go around like some childhood places like the school, park. They go to their old house. It was quick. It was solid. Not much, but it was pretty amusing, I thought.
There's a couple details that made me laugh when they're at the school. It's like they're almost having this tender moment, and then it's quickly back to being douchebags because it's like, we're the most famous people that ever came out of here. And then there was something.
They're at their house and they're like reminiscing. And then he was like,
"Oh, it seems a lot bigger.
It's a lot smaller than we thought." It's like back to the limo.
Yeah, like back to the limo. Like they're almost like normal, nice people, and then it's like, nope.
It's like almost bringing them back down to earth, and they're just like, nah.
And I feel like they're almost channeling like, I don't know if it's parody, I guess, of actual wrestlers from the 90s WCW, you know, the ones that just came in and like got bloated contracts and could do whatever they wanted with corporate money, and it didn't matter. Like they're sort of, which is fun to do. So yeah, I thought this was kind of entertaining, and I'm hit and miss with the Bucks, right? But I enjoy.
I've liked them lately.
You have,
and I think like I will say, because I remember their initial EVP gimmick, it was a little rocky, but I think over the year or so they've found their footing with it, especially as they kind of like toned it down with the whole like, I feel like they were a lot more.
I still don't get the Death Riders affiliation, but outside of that,
I don't get it, but I don't not get it.
I guess
I'm just like, then we get another 4-way, but this is for the number 2 spot in the Casino Gauntlet. Again, just guarantees your spot in the match, so I always like it. It's MJF, Brodeth King, AR Fox, and Anthony Bowens. MJF at the beginning, he tries to pay off Brody King to like either help him
Yeah.
or take the fall. But he throws the money down. MJF flees the ring. He hides behind commentary, and the Syndicate kind of back off the other guys. Then King takes out Bowens and Fox. Barricade crossbody for Fox, and then Bowens on kind of opposite ends of ringside.
Mm-hmm.
Fox with an implosion senton to the floor on the King. That
So cool.
It's just interesting. King takes out Fox and Bowens with a suicide dive. Then MJF hits him with a chair. Bowens sends MJF into King. Then he hits a blockbuster to King, which causes him to hit a DDT on MJF. Fox does a crazy transition where he like slingshots into the ring on a seated MJF, rolls him up into a suplex position, lifts him in a corkscrew brainbuster for 2. We've seen him do it before. It's always catches my eye.
Mm-hmm.
King hits a cannonball to Bowens, then one for Fox. MJF moves out of the way for his. MJF grabs a chair, but King punches it into his face. Then King stacks up all the guys in the corner, seated, and hits a cannonball to all 3, and he covers MJF for 2. Everyone hits like some form of cutter to everyone else. King last hits one to Fox for a 2 count. Fox with a 450 splash to King for a near fall. MJF with the hammerlock cradle DDT to Bowens for not for 2, but he rolls out of the ring. Gonzo bomb absolutely kills Bowens. Looked awesome. Fox broke the pin. MJF pulls Fox away from the pin and taps him out pretty quick, and they fall to the earth. So MJF gets the number 2 spot. We'll get him versus Briscoe in the beginning of said gauntlet match.
Mm-hmm.
Briscoe comes out when his music hits, and he has a shirt with the kosher pickle line from last week.
Already.
So got to get that. And I mean, it was pretty over.
It was.
He congratulates MJF on his spot, but now he has a shirt himself and uninterrupted ass whooping it all in. He says he's not addressing the Syndicate, he's talking directly to MJF. He says MJF called him a blue-collar bitch, and he's proudly blue-collar, but the bitch part assures MJF his beatdown. He says he wants to have a talk with MJF next week without the Syndicate present. He says if MJF has tiny little nuts next to his pickle, then you'll see him next week. He leaves. Jet Speed run out to fight Shelton and Lashley. They get beat down because they have taped up ribs from last week. Syndicate leave. Jet Speed get back up, so they get beat down again. They get up again, and Knight shouts that they won't back down. MJF shouts at them to stay down, but Lashley and Shelton go in to beat them again. Knight says they're still alive, or I think he got a mic this time. He says they're still alive, and the Syndicate know how to hurt them, but if they want to keep the titles, they'll have to learn how to kill them, which I thought was a pretty good line for him, actually. He says Shelton's mama must have taught him how to fight, which, is that a ruthless aggression reference?
I think so. Has to be.
Right? His mama must have taught him how to fight because he hits like a bitch, and he wants a singles match for a Collision. Another really fun 4-way though, various dynamics and styles at play. I thought so. I
just think it's crazy with those 4 guys. Like AR Fox still like kind of stands out.
He always, because AR Fox is awesome. I think Fox has a unique energy as usual. The Bones played his part as like a fired up babyface. We have the hard hitting smash mouth guy Brody King, and then MJF's like the slimy heel picking his spots. Right,
That's
so you
right.
have all your guys, and MJF was always going to win. I think he's the obvious choice, but it was a fun honor to get there. And I think him and Briscoe starting is a really great call.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited for the promo segment next week. I was telling you, like, I think there's a lot you could do with that. And if you want to have them spin off in a feud after All In, I think that'd be really great. Briscoe's just so organically over. And the crowd organically started chanting talkie talk after he said that. Like, he didn't even... There's sometimes where you can obviously, like, very clearly see people trying to engineer a crowd chant in the moment, but like he just said that as part of his line, and the crowd started chanting that. Like, they just love him, and I think it's great because I really like him a lot, and I think they're gonna play off of each other so well. I think given how popular Briscoe is, the feud with them is perfectly timed. Like, I'm really excited for that. Yeah,
I enjoyed this match too. MJF, I think, was the only heel here, right? So that's great for him. And then Brody, everybody loves him. So he's kind of the only other guy with a chance of winning there. And the Gonzo bomb was awesome to see. And it leading directly into the finish makes sense too, right? Because that move is devastating. So really good. And then they used the aftermath, right, to push forward a bunch of things. So
which I thought was productive. And I thought the beatdown just was a little drawn out, but I think in a good way, because it was kind of the point. Like, it really sells them as resilient, persevering babyfaces, like,
and you haven't
people you should root for.
You haven't done anything else with them, so you have to do something like that. Like, the bare minimum is like they are going to take a beating, right, and never give up. At least you've done that. And they're never going to
give up, and we also know everyone already likes them because they're super fun to watch. So we know we like them all. So I thought that was good. I'm glad they used it to further that, and then the Briscoe MJF stuff. Like, I thought it was a productive.
Me too.
Bit after, and it was good to watch. I love seeing Briscoe.
Is it The rest of my notes are just match. Is that right?
Match. That is accurate.
Wow. I'm like, did I miss segments or something? For them to go 3 in a row with no segments is...
I did like it,
although
though,
there's
because
stuff after every match, so...
There's that, yeah, because and then the 2 tag matches kind of blend together, so I kind of like that.
Yeah.
First up, we get the one I was very excited for, which is Takeshita and the Bucks against Bandito and Undisputed Era's Roddy Strong and
I'm sorry,
Kyle
who?
O'Reilly. I'm not doing it.
Paragon.
I purposely didn't write Paragon. I legit wrote their full names because I refused to write Paragon.
I will make my own sound drop of some creative Paragon thing.
Just like whispering Paragon like that, but it's like L'Oreal Paris, but it's just like Paragon.
And I'll just keep putting it through.
Yeah. No, I haven't wrote Paragon once on this entire
Or
document.
I'll like overdub your voice, my own voice onto yours
Oh my
every
god,
time.
it's so funny because
So every time you try and say Undisputed Era, it's someone else's voice going, Paragon.
it's like I think it was when
Like
I was
Brick.
watching Wrestling with Regret. Oh yeah, like when he's
Everybody
read now.
now.
Yeah,
That's what I'm doing.
that's a good one. Or it's Wrestling with Regret. I saw him talk about WXO, which is one of the like failed wrestling promotions around like 2000 or something.
Yeah.
And they, for some reason, were showing an All Japan clip. I think it was Bart Gunn and someone against a couple of Japanese guys, right? I don't remember exactly who, but because they didn't have the license, they kept calling him Bart Gunn on commentary, but they didn't have the license. So then they dubbed over Michael Barton.
Awesome.
So it's like they'd be talking about the match and just be like, yeah, Michael Barton.
Yeah.
And so it'd be like that, you know what I mean? It's, your lights on the fits there.
Melon Farmer is another one.
Melon Farmer. Yippee-ki-yay, Melon Farmer.
It's a famous line.
The Bucks clear house with some of the classic offense early on. Roddy and O'Reilly take out the both Bucks with the tag offense. Roddy misses Wrecking Ball dropping to the floor, and he takes a super kick from Matt. Spaceman Poncho from Bandito to the Bucks, and Takeshita flies in with his tope on Hilo. Roddy with the hot tag because he's the cardio machine. Nick with it. He hits the corner, like knee enziguri. Then he's the running bulldog to Bandito as he clotheslines Roddy at the same time. Matt counters O'Reilly's guillotine into the locomotion Northern Light suplex he does. I think he got both Undisputed Era guys at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Bandito and Takeshita, they go back and forth, and Takeshita caught him with the Blue Thunder Bomb. And then later on, a massive pop-up Liger Bomb from Takeshita.
Crazy.
Bandito kicked out at 2.
It looked like he landed on the back of his head pretty hard.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, it seemed like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Avalanche moonsault fallaway slam to Takeshita from Bandito. The X knee connects, which is that torture rack GTS he does.
It's cool.
It is quite cool. Then he goes for the 21 plex, but Nick flips out, which I thought was pretty cool. Oh, this one's on the fits too. All right. Well, they're just dying off, I guess. Bastard driver from Takeshita. Then he like lifts him up halfway. I think this was to Bandito, right? He hits the bastard driver, lifts him up halfway so the Bucks can double super kick him. Then he follows through on the wheelbarrow suplex for 2. Absolutely, like Bandito just looks at it. Was so funny because then Roddy and O'Reilly just drag his lifeless body to the corner and tag him in. I thought it was so funny because he just, oh my god, poor guy. Like that was one of the things with the crowd. Now the crowd's just getting into it, and that's just the kind of stuff that I think, to their credit, both the Bucks but especially Takeshita, where he just has these combo moves.
He's so impressive
that the crowd gets him just so hyped for. Like it's the bastard driver, Doom and suplex that people really get into, or his Blue Thunder Bomb. Like Takeshita just gets the crowd hyped just because he's so awesome.
I would suggest one of my all-time favorite AEW things was just falling in love with Takeshita.
I agree.
Because being wrestling nerds and not knowing
Japanese
who
guy,
the heck this guy is.
I'll never forget how he wowed me from the very first
Every match
moment.
is awesome.
I'll never forget when we watched Dynamite, and because it was him and Hangman. Punk was on commentary. That was the first time we'd seen him. Because I think before that he had one match on Rampage against Lethal.
Who is this guy? Why is he?
I had no idea who he was, and I'll never forget. Even in that moment when he was like, because at that point he would have had like the Mordos role.
Yeah, basically.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, he looked so sick. He had a match with Moxley in the summer that was really dope. I think at Fyter Fest. Like, we've always just loved Takeshita, and I've been so happy to watch him like become, even though he's not champion right now, he's still a more featured player, and he's not like the fall guy anymore.
It literally was the first time you checked out G1 was because of that guy being in it.
Yeah,
right?
like expressly checking out G1s because of Takeshita. I'll never forget how happy I was when he won the title in that triple title last year, which was also an awesome match. But like, I'd been waiting basically for all year for him to win a title. And I'll never forget how excited I was with
new
that.
talent that I don't know that are awesome. And
it's kind of like
one of the all-timers for me.
Walter and Mariah May were also kind of unknowns, but Takeshita just felt like a discovery because he didn't come in with any fanfare from
That's
DDT.
the thing. I'd heard of Walter for a while.
And I think we heard a bit of
indies.
Mariah May, like she came from Stardom, yada yada. Right?
And I was like, oh, this guy doesn't look like much. And then
Walter
I was like, oh,
awesome.
damn, Walter
but
is
Takeshita,
it.
yeah, I agree. That's probably one of my favorite like underrated things from watching AEW is watching Takeshita. And then he turned heel with Callis, and he's had matches like Omega and Ospreay, and he's just
almost never disappoints.
If he's been in a disappointing match, it hasn't been his fault. Like when him and Hobbs faced Sting,
I was just gonna say the Hobbs,
or when he faced Jericho and Jericho was like sandbagging or whatever.
Yeah, or is just old and
that too
bad.
Right, but like I love Takeshita, so yeah, it's great to see him here, and he's just such a joy to watch. And like I said, he needs to be in the gauntlet match because his offense is so entertaining. Like even if he's just in there for a bit, he'll get the crowd going. Like he's just so great. So he gets taken out by a strike flurry.
Back into it. Nice.
He gets taken out by a strike flurry from Undisputed Era. It's like that thing where O'Reilly does the axe kick and he hits a rolling elbow as Roddy hits a knee. Like they're just so fluid with stuff sometimes. I'll always say this too. I know I mentioned it before, but Roddy and O'Reilly specifically, low-key one of my favorite tag teams of all time because they were like the top team at my favorite time. Right. For NXT, they just put out the
Super Indie NXT days were amazing.
I might always even more like that more than AEW, just nostalgic wise, just because that was
NXT takeovers were the best thing in wrestling.
Takeovers
ever
were AEW pay-per-views before AEW pay-per-views because they never missed.
And they were only 5 or 6 matches, and they were always amazing.
And they were only 5 or 6 times a year like AEW used to do.
That's why you actually wanted to see it. You felt like you were missing something if you didn't.
Yeah, and they actually just on YouTube put out the first Mustache Mountain Undisputed Era match. Remember they had the one in UK during the second tournament. And that's when Mustache Mountain won the belts. And I remember they had the one on TV, which was so good that Meltzer rated 5 stars for an NXT TV match back when they were still 1 hour. So that's on a 1 hour show. Meltzer's rating a 5-star match. That was the one. Remember where I think Tyler Bate threw in the towel. Yes. Right. Yes. And then there's the rubber match at Takeover Brooklyn, which is by far the best one, I think. Yeah. Because I watched that match back numerous times since it's been on Netflix, and it's just such a good match. That was peak wrestling. That was peak wrestling. Undisputed Era is just peak wrestling for me. That was just a company with all the best wrestlers, and nobody cared how big or bodybuilder. Remember how legendary Adam Cole was? Like Adam Cole was the guy. Yeah, and he's tiny, and he was the man. And even Gargano doesn't matter. Yeah. But yeah, that was a great time. But I love these two as a team. Then Bucks super kick Roddy. O'Reilly takes them out with a double clothesline. Then poor O'Reilly takes 2 super kicks and a Takeshita forearm. And O'Reilly's such a great seller. Like he does a really good job looking dead. And another thing in NXT, remember, he was such a good in-ring comedian. Like there'd be sometimes where I remember the one spot at Takeover New Orleans, I think he got German suplexed by one of the AOP guys, and he powered through like he was just gonna fire up, and then he just fell through the ropes. Yeah. He was really funny. And then poor O'Reilly, he takes an EVP trigger power drive knee, basically just 3 knees all around his head, just gets absolutely smashed. Then Takeshita, as if it's not enough, finishes him off with a Raging Fire, and the heels pick up the win. After the match, Ospreay and Swerve attack the Bucks, and they bail from the ring. Swerve says they haven't gotten a response last week for their challenge for All In. Swerve says they want their EVP titles on the line, but clarifies they don't want to become EVP, so that's good. I'm very glad they did that. Ospreay says the Bucks don't want to wrestle them at the show they created, and he calls them young cucks, which got censored. Oh, did it? I didn't notice. I knew what he's going to say, because obviously you can tell. Unless he's going to say bitch, but that's too far. And you're allowed that, unless they already used one. I think you get one. I think they did with Briscoe, right? Could have. Oh, he did, yeah. They want an answer. Matt says, what's with them tonight after what Hangman did and now this? They think they make the rules, but they don't, because the Bucks are the EVPs. He says, hell no, because they don't get anything out of this. Also like that. Fair. Ospreay says he has something they might like. He says if the Bucks beat them, neither him or Swerve will challenge for the world title for a year. Swerve kind of is like, what the hell? He did not run that by Swerve ahead of time. Matt says that's the smartest thing Ospreay suggested. They have a deal, but he has to get Swerve on the same page, and says it's all up to Swerve, so he wants to do it. He has a deal, and Swerve agrees to it, so we're on. It's world title shots versus EVP statuses. Stat-I? Yeah. Titles, I guess we'll say. I thought really fun. Super entertaining match. Takeshita
makes sense he gets the win because he's got a title match. And I really want to see Takeshita Big.
Ours was I'll watch that.
Yeah,
I'll watch that match.
I think I'll find that.
Ours was a little hampered by the issues with our TV feed. I noticed it happening after Dynamite, so I don't think it was just an issue with this. I think it was just our TV box might have been
could have been, yeah,
acting up. But this is the kind of match to me that represents AEW, makes their TV different and from WWE and worth watching. Like this, even if WWE is doing good, you're not finding this kind of match there. And these are the multi-man matches I like. I don't even care if it's the super sponsorship because really that didn't play a factor. Like this is just a good match to get on TV. I thought the end stretch was super fun and action-packed. Poor old Kyle got murdered. I thought the Bucks and Takeshita were a fantastic combination.
And it's the perfect use of O'Reilly and Strong because they can work super fast, long stretches, crazy sequences. They don't need to win. They can take a beating. Like this is what they're kind of here for at this point. I think so.
I think if in an ideal scenario, if we could do it, the Bucks and Takeshita would be crazy for the trios titles. Like because they together, I thought they had some really killer stuff. Like they worked really well together.
The crowd was very into this. They got like everyone was down at one point, and it was like a huge ovation for everybody. Right.
I think also the timing was since Callis is working with Okada, and so we had kind of that elite Callis alliance. I think it's really good timing to put Takeshi and the Bucks together as just even this one off because I think it was really, really entertaining. I thought the post-match angle was good too. It confirms the match we expected from last week. Thankfully, they cleared the stipulation, and I think it's veered in the right direction, and they improved it.
I appreciated that.
The Bucks were smart enough not to accept it as well until there was a reason for them to, and I like that too. They weren't just like
I agree
accepting it just because, and now they have a chance to screw over the babyfaces, which I think really works because both of them have been so eager to get to the world title for the past year or so, right? So I really like that addition to the stipulation, and I think it makes it interesting, and it would be a big deal to babyfaces lose now, so now I think it adds, well, I would still lean towards the faces winning, obviously.
Me too.
I think this does add more of a chance that the Bucks win, though. Because you could keep them as EVPs, and now they don't challenge for the world titles for you. Like, I think that's
for a year,
very possible.
It is.
Right? It's not like the Cody Rhodes thing where now it's like you can't challenge for the world title ever, and now your whole time is pointless.
Hangman's a babyface. He's going to get a pretty lengthy run. That should eat up, like half the year?
Right? So
like, those two don't need to be challenging him.
But, I mean, they probably should. Like, because you were saying
but it's a hard
sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think Swerve and Ospreay will lose, but this does sow more doubt, which I think is good. And I think they definitely improved the stipulation. So I thought this was a really good match, and I'm really excited for the tag match. Like Swerve, Ospreay, Bucks sounds absolutely insane.
This was very AEW style, so a lot of WWE hardcores will be like, because the ref loses control and blah, blah, blah. But did they all go?
Wow. I think they
all hold the charge very consistently, I would say.
I guess so.
Yeah. I thought this match was super entertaining.
I thought it was a good match, good angle, all around, good piece of television here.
Me too.
Then we get Ospreay and Swerve take on LFI, which is Mordos and Dralistico. The streak is dead for main event Mordos.
Yeah, well, maybe he and Monet, maybe their relationship is like they're having trouble right now.
They're not doing good already. So no, oh my! I actually saw
slipping to like upper mid card.
I'll have to show you this, but Monet did a TikTok dance thing with him, and it's so funny because he's in like she's doing it, and she's like all colorful girl, whatever, and but then like he's in his full Mordos getup, and it's so funny. It's so funny. So
he's the coolest.
I really love that. Yeah, and he's a lawyer. He's like, what can Mordos not do? You know what I mean?
There we go.
That's something, right?
Something.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
It doesn't come out great on camera though.
Is it? Okay. Well, I
sorry, audio listeners. We're changing lighting midstream here.
Wait. That looks okay from where I'm looking. I think it looks fine.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's better than nothing.
We're distracted now.
That's good podcasting.
We're just going to talk about things that we get more listeners probably audio, and they have no idea.
They're just like, what's going on?
And I won't take the time to edit it out because
it's part of it.
That's right.
And like, who really cares?
Completist.
And either way, I'm gonna segue. I'm just gonna not even segue. Just gonna go back into it pretty easily, right?
That's right.
Serious slingshot planchas to the floor from the babyfaces seats, and like nothing even happened.
Yeah.
Corkscrew suicide dive from Mordos because that's how he do. Ospreay hot take flurry. Dralistico, it's a huge tilt roll GT on Swerve. Then Ospreay takes a destroyer from Dralistico and a brutal spear from Mordos. Absolutely checks him. Not Braun Breaker, but like on par. Or not on par, but like on that kind of track.
Yes.
I feel like the court's going to drag that down.
It is.
Yeah, okay. Again, what are we doing? Ospreay counters a pot with Samoan drop from Mordos and a crucifix bomb. That looked pretty dope. And then probably the best spot of the match, a Swerve Stomp-esque move into Stormbreaker.
And
on
you're
Mordos,
like, and they found their...
That's their tag finish. That's absolutely
Yeah.
their tag finish.
Could be.
That's why it's good that Ospreay kind of has a couple finishers. Remember him and Omega did that Hidden Blade One-Winged Angel? That looked
Nuts.
dope.
Yeah.
Like that has to be their finish. But Mordos is not legal, so they hit a Styles Clash in a house call to Drilistico for the win. Much shorter. Never in doubt the result.
Quick.
But LFI are really sick, and I really wish we'd get some stock in them because they would be such an asset in the tag or trios divisions if Roosh is here.
If
like,
they
even
cared
in
about
this-
either of those things.
Even in this little match, though, like, I mean, we obviously love Mordos. I think Mordos is awesome, but I think Drilistico is honestly really cool, too. Like, I think he's way more interesting than a lot of the CMLL guys.
He's good. Yeah, that's...
Right?
I agree.
And I think he's got a cooler look. He's kind of got, like, the Sin Cara mask with the Dragon Lee-esque, because he's the one that's related to Dragon Lee, is he
Yeah,
not?
they're brothers with Roosh.
With Roosh, yeah, okay. He's got, like, Dragon Lee, like, head tails on there. And he sometimes has like the Venom mouth on his mask, but he's just got a really cool look.
He's grown on me quite a bit.
I agree. I think he's really cool, and Morris is really cool, and Roosh is really cool. So just do more with them. Main event, Mordos didn't get his spotlight this week, but he still looked good here. And even though they're both flippy and crazy, I like that we have the big guy, little guy dynamic with him and Drilistico.
I do too.
Really good match. The Stomps Stormbreaker has to be the tag finish because that was crazy looking.
Yeah, you need to sort of build Swerve and Ospreay because they're like going against one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So you kind of got to show that they have this chemistry and some of these,
which I
moves
think
in
they
mind.
do.
I do too.
And I like that we've been doing this. I was saying because we like Rush.
Yeah.
Jesus, oh my god,
It's tough.
They should face Crew next week. So I think that'd be a cool match.
Yeah.
Since we already saw Ospreay versus Rush.
And Mordos, like you said, Mordos and Drilistico are cool opponents, fun to watch. So you got to get these guys a
I was
tag
saying to
win.
you, it's good for me because we got with Ospreay and Swerve, we got Blake Christian last week and then Mordos this week. And I was saying that's why I was saying we go Blake Christian, Mordos, Rush, and with their tag partners.
Perfect.
See, the difference is Mordos is the only one with a tag partner that we really like because I think Action Andretti's solid and I don't really care about Lee
Chris
Johnson.
Jericho made him a star. How dare you, sir? How
Look
the gall on you.
Look at where Andretti is, and it's just like, and then look at Jericho saying
another Jericho made star. Okay,
that's what the Jericho Vortex does
each
for you.
one bigger than the last, shining brighter than
What's
the
the
last.
Hook?
Hook, yeah.
Ricky Starks,
yeah, for sure.
Andretti,
MJF,
Daniel
maybe?
Garcia,
Yeah.
MJF. Yeah, we'll go with MJF. Who else did he really feud with? Oh, Claudio, because Blackpool. We'll say Claudio.
All I know
Eddie
is
Kingston.
he feuds
Eddie
with
Kingston.
people for months, and there's no help for the other person.
No,
They
that's
come
what,
out
that's
of
what we
it,
always say.
It's at best a lateral move.
Remember Blackpool and Jas was like the feud that would never die.
Never die.
It was like honestly a feud that felt like TNA where it
We're
just
gonna
doesn't
bring him
die.
back by this conversation. He'll be on next
We've
week.
mentioned Jericho too many times this week already. I mentioned him earlier with Takeshita.
He'll have 3 segments of like 90 segments or
And
90
a
seconds
new
next
group.
week. It'll be our
You were
fault.
talking about MJF making a group every time and it fizzles out, but like Jericho's even worse because he makes a group. They don't fizzle out. They last way too long and have feuds that last way too long.
Yes.
Like we had Inner Circle feuded with the Pinnacle, which
Did
is
Jericho
MJF's
make
group.
Wardlow at any point?
Probably. I don't know. But Inner Circle feuded with Pinnacle, which didn't last that long, thankfully. But remember Inner Circle feuded with American Top Team?
Oh yeah.
That was atrocious.
Love them.
Then they disbanded. Then we had Jas form. Jas feuded with like Eddie Kingston and then Blackpool for way too long.
Mm-hmm.
That was atrocious. Then that kind of fizzled out because Jericho almost joined the Don Callis family, but then he didn't.
Oh, that was
Callis
the paintings.
did the paintings,
That was
right?
funny.
It was, but then remember he like painted a painting because he thought Jericho would say no
Yes.
preemptively.
Yes.
But then Jericho said yes. But then Jericho they split because. And then Ospreay faced Jericho.
Yes.
And then Guevara joined Guevara joined the Callis family, but then got concussed and joined Jericho again for no reason.
Guevara's the one he's really helped the most.
Guevara, there's the one.
Guevara has been loyal to Jericho.
And look at where it got
For
him.
a
He's
long
teaming with Dustin
time.
Rhodes on ROH.
He is a long-time tag team champion.
Allegedly. We once called him a pillar of this company, and
We
now
did.
he's on ROH teaming with Dustin Rhodes.
Yep.
And then remember the Golden Jets?
Yep.
There's that.
Yep.
And then
He made Kenny Omega.
and then
He was just toiling in the mid card.
well, he made Brian Keith and Big Bill because
For
then there's a
sure.
learning tree in which he also made Hook. And also, you know how Mark Briscoe's super popular right now? Jericho Vortex, baby. They also feuded.
That's right.
And it's just like...
Get the rub off Jericho.
He also made Bandito.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Chris Jericho.
Thank you, Chris Jericho.
See you next week on Dynamite. It's our fault.
And see how Cardona's on TNA getting a big spot with Dark State?
Amazing.
It's because he faced Jericho.
That's right.
Last December.
Straight to the top. Strap the rocket to young Matt Cardona.
I can't even say that one with a straight face. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Main event time. It's Kazuchika Okada and Kota Ibushi.
Like, let's just think about it's 2025 and a North American promotion, and the main event is Okada and Ibushi.
That's crazy. And
That's
we're
nuts.
like a week away from Okada Omega
Right.
on North American soil. That's crazy.
So it's like they raided New Japan.
They did.
So the WWE raided everywhere but Japan, basically, and then AEW went and picked Japan.
I don't think they've made a bad play with that because think about who they've
I don't
gotten from
either.
Japan. Switchblade, Ospreay, Okada, Ibushi, Takeshita.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I could feel like they maybe would take Sabre eventually. They may even be siphoning off Gabe Kidd. Who knows?
Listen, WWE got Tonga Loa, Jeff Cobb, who
Hikuleo,
they're strapped a rocket to.
Tonga.
Right. So how dare you again, sir?
Right, my bad.
Who would you rather have, Tonga Loa or Will Ospreay? Like, did you even think this through? You really need to, use your head. I raised you better than this.
Actually, they do get to call a man Tala Tonga, so I do think
so they win. That's mic drop. They win.
They debuted Hikuleo. I don't even know if we talked about it officially in the Saudi show.
Impressive. I don't know. Maybe it was. I didn't see it.
Oh, I think we might have, but like they didn't mention his name, or because in his dark match he was Hikuleo, so they didn't mention his name.
I heard
and that's
that.
when the reports of Tala Tonga came out. The joy that brings me to be able to call him Tala Tonga. Tama Tonga's not even back, but like, just because the implication that he's the taller version of Tama Tonga is genuinely the best part about this.
In his defense, we do know someone named Tala.
Who?
Somebody from your school is named Tala.
Oh, Talha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Close enough.
It's a name out in the world.
Close enough, right?
Yeah.
Same difference, really.
Yeah.
It's just the joy that name brings me.
Tala
It's
Tonga.
like, because there's so many stupid names. And believe me, Tala Tonga is one of them. I don't like JC Mateo either. But the joy, the pure joy. I smile every time I think about Tala Tonga.
I think I said it before, I really hope Jeff Cobb got massive paycheck.
I really hope so.
Because he is the new Rusev / Andrade / maybe less.
Less.
Right?
I think he might end up being like a JD McDonough.
Because he's cool, man.
Well, like he came in his debut match, he was dressing like a nightclub bouncer.
And I love Lucha Underground. They threw that dude in a mask and coveralls,
and
he never said a word, and he was 10 times cooler than he is now.
Yeah. Even in New Japan, at least they had him doing mid-card stuff.
Right.
On his own, but...
And showcasing the freak athleticism and strength on that guy.
Tala Tonga reminds me, remember when Big Bill changed his name and I couldn't stop... We couldn't stop giggling at that.
Big Billiam.
I think... Or
Large William.
Large William. I think that is because his name in Impact was when he was W. Morrissey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, why not just go by his actual name? I don't. Because
that
his
one
name's
bugged me
William
too.
Morrissey.
Something I didn't like writing it.
Yeah, Morrissey. Yeah, but Big Bill used to make me giggle every week. I don't know why.
So you'll get used to Tala Tonga too.
No, Tala Tonga's because like just the story behind that name that I've crafted in my brain is so unbelievably funny.
So then do you start calling the other one Smala Tonga?
No,
Tama
now
Tonga
we need to get a third one.
A little person who is Smala
Like
Tonga.
Samoan Hornswoggle.
Yes, who is Smala
Or
Tonga.
Tongan Hornswoggle, sorry. And then he's Smala Tonga.
And then one even smaller, like Microman. And
Even
he's
smaller
Tiny
Tonga.
Tonga.
Tiny Tonga, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I like that. And then, do we have Giant Tonga?
It's like
or
a
is it
Russian nesting doll of Tongas.
No,
Anyways.
it's like, remember in NXT how we had the triple threat with Trick, Javon, and Oba, and we were saying that's the Pokemon
That was
evolution?
yes.
That's what we have right now.
Yes.
We just need like a smaller one.
Or a larger one. You can
Or
pick.
a larger one. Yeah, Tama Tonga could be the basic.
Right.
But like, what do you call the taller than Tala Tonga? Who do you call that?
I'd have to reflect on that a little bit.
Anyways, Okada and Ibushi, pretty banana stuff. Big boot from Okada, then Ibushi comes back with a drop kick. Ibushi with a series of big kicks and a standing moonsault for 2. Not as funny as Jeff Cobb's, but just as graceful.
It's nice, yeah.
Basement shotgun knee from Ibushi. Arid crash neckbreaker from Okada. Shotgun dropkick into the corner from Okada. Strikes in the corner from Okada. They fire up Ibushi. He backs Okada in the corner, the opposite corner with rapid shots. Ibushi ducks the Rainmaker and clocks Okada hard with a lariat. Absolutely bonked him. Then Avalanche Tiger Arm from Ibushi for 2, but like kind of inverted.
It was awesome.
It was just in the inverted direction, like facing outward from the ring, and so like kind
Looks
of falling
so much
backwards.
cooler.
Crazy looking. That got a 2 count. Really crazy move. Okada holds the ropes to stop an Ibushi attack, then smashes him with a lariat like he owes him money. Big dropkick from Okada. He wins with the Rainmaker. After the match, we get a post-match attack from the Callis family. Omega comes in to make the save. Trent tries to attack him with the baton. Ibushi stops him. We get the powerbomb German to Trent. So Golden Lovers kind of hitting their old stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to say, as someone who hasn't been overly enamored with Ibushi since he's come back, so he's kind of lost a step, I thought this match over-delivered and was quite good.
Was really happy to say I thought this match was really good.
I thought this was super strong. I doubt it was probably the pace of their matches in New Japan, but they busted out some big stuff and beat the crap out of each other.
What? So did Ibushi just come back too soon or something?
Maybe.
Because he was not this guy. And I'm super glad to say he looked really good here.
He did.
I thought this...
He was hitting his shots. He hit some big moves. He took some big bumps.
The crowd, it kind of felt important, even though you know Okada is winning.
It did,
obviously,
but like...
And the crowd was
just,
into it.
For especially the AEW fan base, both of these guys have a certain star power. And
I'm not trying to sound like fellow kids, but I mean this the way... Like the aura of these guys, right? Like not trying to be a brain rot kid or whatever your brother's generation is. What is he, Gen Alpha?
I don't know.
But anyways, like there's something about these two, right? And I think the crowd got it. And
some of the clotheslines were super beefy in this match.
No shot Ibushi's winning, but easy to forget when the action was good.
Yeah,
so I really
great match. Felt like a main event, I think.
I think so too.
Great TV match. Okada's always going to get the win, like you said, but really strong. And not a bad way to like keep Okada busy.
And
it got Omega to return after, so that kind of had the angle after.
And if Ibushi is Ibushi, like you now have another top guy to figure out, right? So you've got, in my opinion, you can run a company with Moxley, maybe not in the form he's in now, but he's a top guy. Hangman, Swerve, Ospreay, Ibushi, Okada, you could argue, right? Omega.
Fletcher, I think,
is right on the cusp. So like the top of the card is crazy stacked.
So I'll go over mine because I have a thing written out, and then I'll see what you have to say.
I'm going to predict... I already have mine written down that we're going to agree on this.
Okay. Considering this is a big Dynamite 300, I thought the lineup heading into the show looked good, but was lacking something. But I think in execution, it was a sleeper hit. I think they really nailed it. It wasn't perfect, but I think what they had, they did really well with. Because I think every match delivered. Like the women's match was good.
I agree.
The four was really strong. The trios match was crazy fun. The tag match was good value, and the main event over delivered and was a really strong ending point.
Ditto.
And I think while it was no segments in like the last half or so. I think we had some major segments that were productive as well. It was mostly like top heavy, we'll say, in terms of segments.
It was.
But we still had a lot of stuff. Like I think the opening segment was really well done. Give the Death Riders some kickback from Hangman after last week, while also making the main event much more interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The segment after the four-way furthered not only MJF and Briscoe's little feud, but also built Jetsby as baby faces. And they fleshed out the Bucks Swerve Ospreay match with improvement on that stipulation, making that more interesting. The Bucks had a little amusing segment as well. And my only nitpick, I would say, would be the lack of build for the women's match.
Mm-hmm.
But that match was still good. And Storm just not doing anything on commentary, even that was weird. Even though I don't like her commentary, it's just like, then why was she there?
And not using the cake. Minus, you lose marks.
Honestly, I think a really strong episode of Dynamite. I think with even better matches and maybe a little more build towards the match, it's even better. But I think it's an A-.
We were close. I went B+.
I think it's an A-.
That's fair.
Like they really nailed it.
I agree. We're not that we don't love stories, because we do. But if you just want to go 3 matches back to back and they're good, I'm fine with that too. And again, they were doing stuff on the ends, all the run-ins.
Yeah, most of the matches, right? I'd say had a purpose.
There was something. I thought it was a very strong show. I was really happy too, and just warms my heart to see Ibushi looking like Ibushi, right? Like just that last run he had was was no good, I didn't think. Like, we had problems with every time he stepped in the ring sort of thing, but this looked really good. So happy for him. Really good show. Good build to All In, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we have one more to go, so I really hope next week kind of knocks it out of the park.
I'm looking forward to All In,
We
and I
need a
also
good
love
go
it comes in the middle of summer when I don't have to go to work. It's one of my favorite
And it means
things.
you don't have to watch Goldberg.
That's right. But anyways, we'll now shift gears into our little trivia segment where I'll hit Jack with some trivia on a topic of my choosing. We call it Off the Top of His Head. So for trivia this week, we're going to talk about... I asked for 20 of the worst WWE, WWF storylines of all time.
Katie
Just because
Vick.
I've been complaining about some stories in WWE. Formatted like a quiz with hints to make it more engaging, blah, blah, blah. So here we go. Number 20, here's your hint. So you can tell me what the angle is or whatever you know about it. An Olympic hero becomes obsessed with a wrestler's wife, leading to awkward and cringeworthy advances.
Yeah, that was like Angle and Trips in 2000, I think, with Steph, right? Should be. Or is it the Booker T one?
Correct. Go ahead.
Okay, the bestiality one.
Yes, where he's stalking. Oh, that's right.
That's what he said.
That's right. Okay.
Why is he in two things where he's after someone else's wife?
Number 19, we're counting down. A celebration of life was interrupted when the person being honored showed up alive.
The Vince thing
Tell me about it.
with the exploding limo.
Correct. And this is saying it was canceled due to?
Certain Canadian wrestler.
Correct. Benoit? Number 18, a mysterious hacker teased exposing the truth and then vanished.
Like the SmackDown hacker?
Yes. From what year?
2020.
Correct. Because the next thing gives another hint, which was going to be COVID era mystery.
It was part of like the Otis Dolph Ziggler thing.
And it just disappeared. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I believe it.
and then Ollie ended up doing Retribution.
Oh, right. And it was amazing. Better than Dark State? Question. Don't know.
Not impossible.
An entire storyline revolved around a love triangle involving a teenage girl, her teacher, and a future Hall of Famer. Is this accurate? I can give you a year if you want.
Sure.
2012?
Teenager, her teacher, and
I don't think
Hall
she's
of
literally a teenage girl, so I question that part of it.
Is this something with AJ Lee?
Correct.
And her teacher.
They're saying there was a
Ziggler and
love...
Cena?
They're saying Daniel Bryan and Kane love triangle. I mean, just because I don't remember it does not mean it didn't happen.
So...
Go ahead.
There is the one tag match where she makes out with Kane, which is weird.
Okay.
But, like, it wasn't... No, because I think I was just to mess with... Because Punk and Bryan were in the match. Punk and Bryan were the love triangle.
Okay. I'll allow it.
But okay.
A wrestler had a twin brother who only ever appeared once to help in a match.
Is it like the Hebners or is it
1994 at SummerSlam.
brother? Who is it?
I don't think
Hearts?
brother's the right. I think this is poorly framed.
I don't know.
Did the Undertaker do anything different?
SummerSlam '94.
Yeah.
That was Taker versus Taker.
Yeah. So that's what they're going for.
It's
It's not twin brother. It's
No.
clone.
or
whatever.
doppelganger.
Right. A beloved hero. This is accurate. A beloved hero turned heel by joining an evil regime with no real explanation.
Austin
Yes.
with like the Alliance.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, okay, this is pretty obvious. And to be fair, I did not enjoy these guys. A tag team with male cheerleaders was meant to be threatening, but just wasn't.
Spear Squad.
Yeah, I thought they were funny. I don't think they were meant to be threatening. I don't think that's a fair assessment. But anyways, this higher power manipulated The Undertaker only to be revealed as someone very close to home.
Vince.
Is the higher power.
Redacted.
Yes. So I'm going to read this as written, which should give you a hint of how much sense.
Okay.
A Russian war hero was suddenly romantically linked to someone very ... American. Would it help you if you took out war hero? Because I don't know
Is
why.
it Rusev?
No. Yes, sorry. And?
Lana? Oh, Summer Rae?
No.
Liv Morgan?
No. Someone very ... American.
Oh, Cena.
No.
What?
I mean, you went too American. What was
How
the
do-
story with Rusev and
Lashley?
Oh, I just said it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that one.
Yes.
War hero.
I know.
Because his entrance was on a tank once? Like, what are we trying to say?
A Russian war hero. They're saying Lana is a war hero, are they not? She was the Russian one. Wasn't Rusev Bulgarian? Or did they
I think they were talking about Rusev, but they just messed up on all accounts.
I don't know. A mysterious woman in a veil promised seduction, but it turned into body shaming. Is this real? From 2006.
I have no idea what that even means.
So there was a mystery woman
Who
was revealed to be...
I couldn't possibly tell you.
It says the unveiling of the quote-unquote mystery woman as, not my words, quote-unquote fat Vicky Guerrero in disguise.
I genuinely have no idea what to take.
Well, that is, sir, that is the 11th most famous terrible storyline. So you don't know crap
don't
about
know
wrestling.
I have never heard that in my life.
Number 10, 2 men fought over the custody of a child through a ladder match.
Eddie and Ray.
That's correct. A WWE chairman faces God in a wrestling ring, obviously.
Vince.
Yes. Vince and Shawn
Michaels and Sheenathan.
A funeral, an affair, and a casket, and somehow a man, quote-unquote, had relations with a corpse.
Katie Vick.
Yeah. Only number 8 for the worst story.
It's just gotta be top 3.
So here's which ones are worse.
Okay.
A wrestler pretended to have a mental disability to manipulate his tag partner.
Eugene?
Yes. And do you remember who did that?
Regal?
No.
Who team was Eugene?
They're saying, but it said he pretended to have a disability to manipulate his tag partner. They're saying Kurt Angle.
I don't. Okay.
I might not be right. Cult leader kidnapped a child, tried to marry her, and was stopped at the altar.
Taker and Steph?
Yes, there you go. That's number 6. A baby was born, but somehow aged into a hand.
Yeah, Mark Henry Mae Young.
That's funny.
That is certainly one.
That tickled. The way they had that written really tickled me.
I don't think that's how it. I don't think that's how it works. But
the baby aged into a hand.
I don't think that's how
in theory was born a baby and turned into a hand later.
In that moment, though,
I don't know.
It was born a hand. It didn't age in anything. What are we trying to say?
That's good stuff. A wrestler had a relationship with a mannequin that he thought was real. Don't think of romantic necessarily.
Oh, Head and Al Snow?
Close.
Not Moppy, right?
No. Al Snow. And did he have a dog, Pepper?
Oh, yeah.
And it says here it was eaten by Big Boss Man. That's right.
Mannequin?
I'm pretty sure. I know. Why would they say mannequin there?
That threw me off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Poor question. A legendary faction returned in 2002, but instead of chaos, they brought pancakes and passive aggression.
NWO?
Yes.
So
what was the pancakes reference to?
I don't know. That almost made me think it was New Day somehow. So let me get this straight.
Me too.
The lame, soft reboot of the NWO is worse than Katie Vick. That's what we're trying to say? Okay. Just
Number 2, second worst. A wrestler was forced to marry someone while unconscious, and it was shown on the Titantron.
Triple H and
that's
stuff.
fair.
Yeah, that one's bad.
Fair.
Should they not include the Kane Alita thing where he basically like SAs her and then gets her pregnant, forces her to marry him, and then wait, there's more, because that's also when Snitsky punts a baby doll, and since he knocks in Alita and has a miscarriage, that makes the sex
so crazy.
That makes basically the sexual assaulter Kane somehow a babyface through no action of his own.
The WWE was wild, eh?
That's like 0304. So this is not even like 2 years after Katie Vick they're doing that.
Number 1.
And that's just not on here.
Beloved wrestling legend, unless this is it, it's not, was revealed to have committed murder, but it turned out to be ... an accident involving alcohol and a car.
What?
A beloved wrestling legend is revealed to have committed murder.
Chris Benoit.
But it turned out to be an accident, a car accident, maybe. The very famous quote from it is like one of the all-time
Rikishi
disappointing payoffs. Yes.
And Austin.
I did it for The Rock. Anyways.
So just to clarify, Kane being a psycho rape husband is
not as bad as them under-delivering on who was driving them.
Not as bad as anything on here. And to be clear, this and it disappointing Rikishi payoff and the WWE NWO are worse than Katie Vick as well.
That's right.
That's okay.
Now you know.
How is Kane a success?
Persistence. Okay, so that ends our trivia. We'll go back into talking more weekly wrestling, Raw and NXT. Won't go over everything, but a lot of stuff. It's called Highspots and Restholds. As usual, I watched it all. You saw bits and maybe some stuff on the internet. You were in the room for a bit of NXT near the end there. So feel free to chime in. And as I said, starting it with Raw, this was the, oh crap, we have less than 2 weeks till Evolution. We need to... And part of it is too, like, they keep telling us how important it is, right? So you better book some matches for it less than 2 weeks out, maybe. You're trying to tell us how, like, amazing this is and important it is, and you just, like, don't care about it, clearly. So anyways, first thing, we get Rhea Ripley in the ring. And she's basically like, well, I'm done with Judgment Day, so I wonder what I'll do next. And then Io just walks up and goes, hey, you can have a match against me. So guess what? We made a match out of nowhere.
We did it.
Match should be good, but like it's just like, hey, I'm a baby face. You're a baby face with nothing to do. Let's fight. Okay.
After
done.
The whole thing was like Ripley inserting herself into the triple threat of Mania, but now it's like she gets another shot anyways.
And it's also her just coming out and just kind of be like, okay, done with Judgment Day, just so you know, time to move on.
Even though she was already done with Judgment Day, so then they just ran it back for no reason.
And then, yes, so already done again with Judgment Day. Then we get new tag team champions is notable, right? It's Balor and McDonough defeating New Day. It was a moonsault, and then by McDonough, coup de grace by Balor, forget to who. 12 minutes.
I think Woods. I don't know why.
It was a good tag match, right? You had, I think it was McDonough was in peril for a bunch to set up a Balor hot tag. Then it's kind of reversed so that McDonough gets his chance to fire up. New Day are taking shortcuts and cheating. And it feels like our Judgment Day being moved to babyface.
I think so, but that feels weird.
It does, because we were supposed to hate New Day because not only are they heels, but they're actively cheating and taking shortcuts,
and
right?
They
so clearly
suck now.
Positioning Judgment Day as not so heely.
I guess.
And also it feels like Dom is leaning that way.
Dom, I think so, because he was so over at Mania, which I thought was really strange.
And when Liv comes back, if they want to make her babyface,
that also does work. But someone's turning heel because there's the whole Roxanne thing.
The Roxanne and Balor and JD being babyface is harder to pull off, I feel like.
But like
everybody
felt like
else,
they were getting cheered when they won the belts. No?
They were.
So.
I thought McDonough looked really good. Good tag team match. And I kind of felt like this was coming, maybe partly because of the seemingly random JD McDonough vignette from last week. Like, it made me feel like they did that for a reason.
I'm surprised because I don't see the point.
I think they just want Judgment Day all to have gold. It feels like they're back.
They do now.
They've circled back around to like, this group is involved in everything. So let's give them all the belts.
Yeah, right.
And holy cow, is New Day a waste of a moment. We talk about it all the time. They were just directionless for this whole run. And I don't know where they go from here, but
I think this is their big thing was having the belts, and I think they just kind of squandered that. Cause
really disappointing.
I don't even know what else.
Like they didn't use Big E for anything after that. Clearly, he's around and can do stuff. I don't know, man.
It's such a waste.
Such a waste. I feel stupid because for loving that moment that much.
I know it was
right. I regret.
Almost considered putting it as like the best of the year.
I think I did.
I don't know. I think we both ended up picking Hangman Burns' house down.
You might be right.
Because that was generational.
But they made me feel stupid for being like, I love this.
For liking that.
And then it's like, no.
Yeah.
Then we have Bayley is being interviewed. I think it was backstage. Lyra interrupts. And it's basically like, suddenly again, they're telling us how good of friends Bailey and Lyra were. It's like, you're not returning my text, but you'll complain about me in an interview?
No, they were tag partners for like a couple weeks.
It's just the laziness of, we were really good friends.
It's lazy.
And now we have problems.
It's lazy, 100%.
They argue. Pierce shows up, makes a number one contenders match between these two. Gee, I wonder how that will end. And I'm writing that in the moment, right? Like, telegraphed. And
as if it hasn't already, like, happened.
And it's telegraphed not in a clever, like, sometimes we're like, that's fine, right? Like, predictable is good. But this is the uninspired lazy.
It's uninspired lazy, and, like, they've been doing it already.
Yes. It's, I don't know, man.
So it's like, I don't know.
Because you know neither of these women are finished with Becky, right? So you know there's not going to be a clean finish to this.
Well, and you know that
we're getting a triple threat.
However we get there, but you also know that there's the women's pay-per-view.
Correct.
Literally next week.
Correct.
So it really doesn't help that it's like
they're scrambling to get everything lined up. Yes. I think this was in one of those commercial parts that not everybody got, but I got it. It's Waller basically talking about, I thought this was weirdly placed, talking about how he could follow the New Day's example in trimming the fat by getting rid of Big E just after New Day. They've been champions for months.
They did this in October.
He waits till 5 minutes after New Day lose to be like, I could really learn something from those guys. So that was weird. And no offense.
No, yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Because I've liked Waller at some point. Who the hell cares if him and Theory stay together or not?
I saw someone
who could care
point out
who's the
that,
baby
like,
face or not? Like,
I've seen people pushing for Theory to get a silver run. I'd be open to seeing that because I think Theory has a lot of potential.
I don't know, man.
I saw someone point out that like they teased this last year and then they dropped it for a while.
It's been going
like,
forever.
Dude, Fatu came in.
They brought them into NXT and it was part of the story.
Fatu came in and like I saw someone talk about like he came in and they were doing that and now he's like dropped the title and whatever. Like and they're still doing that. It's actually I don't even understand.
Best case scenario, we would call it breadcrumbing, but this just feels like stop and starting.
It's stop start. This is not breadcrumbing.
By far, and I've already made the thumbnail for this episode, by far the most interesting thread on this episode storyline in Raw right now is what? Probably Raw and NXT for me. Think like light comedy almost.
I don't remember.
Americano Gable.
Oh, yes.
I
love that so much.
So Gable's backstage in the first segment about this story. And he's telling the Creeds, like, obviously he's got to go for surgery, and the Creeds need to listen to Ivy. So first of all, we know Ivy's being positioned as the leader now that Gable's gone. That's good information. That's fine. Pierce comes up and wishes Gable luck with the surgery, and then he's kind of like, I guess we won't be seeing El Grande around either for a while.
Right.
And Gable's like, you never know. And you can see Kaiser is in the background listening to all of this as well. And then later in the show, Niall and the Creeds are being interviewed. Content doesn't matter. I don't even remember. But El Grande Americano walks by, and it's clearly Kaiser.
No.
And I mean,
no, it's not.
I love this because he's like bigger, taller, less tan, equally shredded almost though. So.
I would argue.
But this has the potential to be really entertaining and feels so much more creative up against all this lazy last minute crap.
I do think it's
paint
funny.
by numbers. I think this is the type of comedy I have time for, right? Like, and he's the speed champion, right? So Kaiser has to start defending. Like, just picking up all of Americano's dates, I think.
I don't know what you mean. It's always been...
Hypothetically.
I don't understand what you mean, sir.
So I think this is really fun. And it is the one thing I kind of am like, yes, when it comes up on Raw.
I think it's really fun.
That's sad to say. So here we go again. Pierce and Aldis. I guess they have to unite to make these decisions. They quickly agree to give half the tag championships to Roxanne. And I guess, to be fair, there is precedent of them just replacing people, right? And so there's tons. Pierce says that they will defend against a team from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And just like that, we've got another match out of thin air for Evolution, right? Like, sure, you can have a title and you're defending against 3 random teams.
To be fair, they never put effort in that division.
So when they say against 3 teams, could they, another way of saying that against every tag team there is?
No, because there's probably only like 3 teams on Raw, so it's like
It's close.
there's actually I don't. Actually, you might be right at this point. I actually don't know.
Although they seem to be quickly forming teams in NXT. I'll get there too.
And they got the Dungeon Dolls on Raw.
I think it's what's the Dungeon Dolls?
Dupree and Natalia, I think.
Is that their real name? Stop.
You haven't heard about this?
I have not.
Yeah, they're gonna be the Dungeon Dolls.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That makes me happy. I think it's a segment later where Balor wants to have a vote to get Roxanne in Judgment Day since she now has the tag titles. Balor's already yes. JD's a yes. I think Dom is like, I need to talk to Liv first, but
He said like temporary, yeah.
Balor just disregards, but he does kind of approve. He's like, yes, until I speak to Liv, I think, basically. And then, who's the other one? Whose name I was getting? Oh, Raquel. She kind of begrudgingly agrees. Roxanne is in, and Roxanne says she'll take out Kairi Sane to get revenge for Liv, even though she just hurt herself falling down, but that's okay. It's a storyline. It's Kairi Sane's fault. And she gets a vignette later. I'll just say it now.
The Pirate's
You
back.
saw it? Yeah, you saw it, didn't you?
The Pirate's back.
They just did this,
I think I saw a bit of it, yeah.
super shiny, WWE style vignette just to be like, Kairi Sane is a pirate princess again.
Much like when her gimmick out, because I was talking about the first Evolution, she's back to what she was doing before.
Well, and what was she doing in between? Not exactly a departure. Like the same thing minus carrying a ship's wheel.
She was just a Japanese girl.
It's just amazing. So big things for her. They're strapped the rocket to her, obviously. Pirate princess is the gimmick everybody's clamoring for.
I mean, it gives her more personality, I guess.
I want to be a pirate.
Really
You get the reference now.
Oh, yeah.
You look like a pirate.
George is getting upset.
George likes spicy chicken. Rusev beat Sheamus. This match, I'm not saying it was bad. 19 minutes. Rusev wins.
That's crazy for Raw. Honestly, that
right?
feels weird.
Rusev wins with a Machka kick. The crowd was very dead for the first chunk of this. The match was solid, physical, obviously. The most memorable thing, because I told you my note taking now is like for stuff like this, when it's done, what do I remember? Sheamus caught Rusev coming off the apron and power slammed him on the floor, which was looked pretty solid.
The Rusev won, you said, right?
Yeah, Rusev.
I would hope so.
Rusev also cheated, leading to the finish. They were both on the apron on either side of a corner, and he took off the little pad, not the turnbuckle pad.
Oh yeah,
I
did see that.
And
he
pulled him. So it was kind of tough because it clearly went into his chest, but then Sheamus is selling like it was his throat and choking. But anyways,
same-ish area, kind of.
That led to the finish, and Rusev's just not over. And I don't think the reaction here is going to convince anyone that matters that he is. You know what I mean?
They just haven't done a good job.
The match was long and good, but like, I don't think it helps him in any way. Pierce and Aldis then announce a battle royal for Evolution. Check, another match made.
They did do that, to be fair. On the first
that
show.
one I was expecting, to be honest.
And that one was on the first show, so at least they're consistent.
And you don't really need to build.
No,
you just say it's happening.
And you get a title shot. I guess it sets up like future stuff. Because for SummerSlam, you'll have Cargill facing Stratton, and so I guess this would get someone a shot at,
I guess.
Either
Paris.
If they're in NXT, they would get. Oh, it's at Paris. Never mind. So it's not even at SummerSlam. Then yeah, it would be for either belt, I guess. Then.
Karrion Kross attacks Sami Zayn backstage with the big old lead pipe. I think the point is he wants Sami to say that Kross was right. It's reminiscent to me of the Say My Name feud. Was that
Black and Velveteen?
That was awesome. Like, that was so simple and dumb, but I loved it, right? Like, just, you will say my name, and he just, yeah, that was
But then
cool.
he beat him, and then he did say it, and that got him, both of them over.
That was a cool little feud.
And look at them now.
So Sammy's midsection is compromised for the main event. So again, like, as soon as this happened, I'm like, 100% Sammy gets speared for the loss, right, in the main event. So it's just this, like, very, very paint by numbers. And again, predictable doesn't mean bad, but it's just uninspired is what I keep coming back to. Right? Gunther out to speak more truth about Goldberg. Goldberg's a 58-year-old man who wants to ride out his career on Gunther's coattails. Goldberg's not capable of taking the title from him. He'll bully Goldberg, treat him like a piece of crap, and then leaving Gunther to say who's next. So I don't know, man. There's nothing new here. Gunther's awesome. Goldberg is old and washed up, but
Goldberg.
We'll see what happens. Pretty repetitive, to be honest. Then Rollins comes out. Gunther mocks him for going all the way to Saudi Arabia to accomplish nothing, but Rollins says his goal was to not to cash in, but to make sure Punk didn't win, and then he stares at Gunther's belt.
Kind of makes sense.
Then Punk comes down, ready to fight Rollins.
Oh, Rollins has his own case now.
He does.
Which
black
is
and
fine,
gold.
but like, just feels unnecessary to me. Like, I don't know why we have to do that so much, because Naomi's supposed to get her own too.
I think they feel like if it means if you don't now, it's like you're not a star or something. I don't know.
Well, it's
everybody
just like,
does.
No, they've done it more often than not in the last few years. I feel like it just feels unnecessary.
Yeah, the lunchbox was funny. Rollins runs away. Angry CM Punk shoves down Gunther before leaving. And then, so this is like just a domino effect here. LA Knight comes up kind of behind Rollins. They end up brawling on the concourse. So I guess the point is, right, there's lots of contenders swirling around Gunther, but I don't know if any of them really feel important. I don't know. Seth's supposed to, but and Punk is, but like I don't know. It's weird. There's this weird feeling of like
him.
And Knight, I don't know. I don't really have much time for him, anyways. What else do we have? Bayley and Lyra, surprise, surprise, wrestled to an 11-minute draw. Both of their shoulders were down in a pinning predicament. We all knew this was going to happen. They brawl after the match, and I kind of feel similarly about this match the way I did the Lyra Lynch. Like, it's not that it's bad, but they clearly are saving things because there is another match coming.
And it's a crappy finish, so it's like kind of unsatisfying.
It was, for sure. Nothing of note, really. I laughed because in an interaction backstage, CM Punk is telling LA Knight, like, when it comes to getting your hands on Rollins, you need to get in line. And LA Knight is basically like, well, I'm facing him at Saturday Night Main Event. So, like, Punk looks kind of dumb, right? He's like, you get in line. And he's like, oh, I'm wrestling his next match. So I am the line, I think is what Knight said. Made me laugh. Main event. And as you would expect, Sammy and his injured ribs take a spear from Braun. After the match, the heels continue the attack, but Jey Uso makes the save with a chair. I think he hits Reed with it a bunch, throws it in his face, and certainly feels like we're getting a 6-man tag, right? Again.
With Rollins' group against?
Against, I'm guessing, Uso and Sammy and Punk?
I guess.
I don't know.
Sounds great.
Feels pretty formulaic. The match itself, fine tag match, but again... stuff doesn't feel important right now. There was a string where I was loving Raw main events, right? Like ahead of Mania, I think it was. Like,
I want to say, yeah.
The main events were consistently awesome, but I don't know, man. This show, it's just like borderline lazy, feels like. NXT, see if it's any better. Trick was on commentary. Don't remember anything he said that was striking. Hendry beat Wesley in the opener. It's basically Hendry using power, Lee using distraction, and then cheating from it's Igwe and DuPont, right? Right names?
Yes.
I think they're going by first names only now, but anyways, which is what? Tyson and Tyreek. Santana has to run down to take out those guys. Hendry hits his finisher for the win. Basic stuff, fine. I'm not a big Hendry guy at the moment, and Wesley and his guys are just there to lose matches at this point, so nothing surprising. Izzy Dame thinks that she and Pakshi would make a great tag team. She thinks she won Tatum's friendship in her loss last week. Zarya and Sol Ruka are there to be like, oh, she's just trying to use you. I
feel like Zarya and Sol Ruka are the only logical choice for the
for tag
match.
Yeah. Well, now you got Paxi and Dame.
But like,
who pick up a win here.
They've been decently established, even though I do think it's weird because like I saw the entrance when you're watching NXT. It's like do the whole dark apocalypse stuff, and it's just like and then just start surfing. And it's just like
it's like Killian Dane and little guy.
No, that was cool.
That was cool. So Paxi agrees to it despite Zarya and Sol Ruka trying to warn her about Izzy Dame. And again, it's just like tag teams forming, it feels like. I don't know if we need them all for Evolution somehow. There's going to be like a tag team gauntlet or something, but...
It's the 4-way. There's one team from NXT's getting there. I don't know why they need to like...
I know, throw a bunch together.
Yeah.
Luca Crucifino has his moment in the ring, and let me tell you, was I ever hyped to watch it. So he's going to put this issue to rest, and I put in brackets as if. Tony comes out, they talk... He and Luca talk about the same stuff they always do. Like, I don't know if I can trust you. Him going, I'm loyal. It doesn't matter. Stacks comes out with the Heritage Cup. And Luca shockingly takes out Tony D'Angelo, long story short. And then it's like, oh, we now know who's... Nope. He takes out Stacks as well. and Luca lets us know his loyalty is to himself. Are you sorry you missed it?
I've already seen it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So, I mean, on the plus side, I like Luca Crucifino, and I'm like, he's getting the hell away from this, but he's not, right? He's going to have matches against everybody.
Now I think it just means that you're probably at the Bash. I would bet my money on a 3-way.
Over under on weeks I have to endure this.
Another month.
I think so too. I feel it's like 4 to 6 weeks of this. I don't know, man. I think someone's trolling me. The length of this group and the storylines they do,
it's like jazz. It's Jericho.
Baffles me.
It's Jericho.
It is. Anyways, what do we have here? Oh yes, Miles Bourne beat Lexus King in like a 4 and a bit minute. It was weird because King dominates a lot of this, and then he goes too far. I think it's Bourne seated in the corner. King does some big build up and then just slaps him, and then that fires Bourne up. He goes on to win with a drop kick. You see his finisher?
Zigzag.
Yeah. Because I was like, what is that? That's like
that's a zigzag.
It looks familiar. And then as they announced, they actually did say zigzag too. They might have said like zigzag-like maneuver or something.
I wouldn't call it that, and I wouldn't use that again. And also, I noticed King is wearing trunks.
I did not notice. I personally would have had Bourne look more dominant, but he clearly needs a win because he's starting a singles path here that he's on. So fine with that. He also added a gator roll to his repertoire, which I don't think I loved.
It's not that interesting.
My God, the two heel commentators, Booker and Graves, drooling over Lexus King this whole time was so...
People have been praising Graves.
Annoying and over the top. I know they praised him for the...
On Raw, I think he's better.
But even the one they just did in Mexico there. Or
Worlds Collide.
But they're too much here. Dark State are dollar store Death Riders, and I don't like Death Riders, I said.
Hey, Death Riders are all right.
So at the end of the day, Death Riders are made up of good wrestlers who can have good matches most of the time.
They got better booking.
Dark State, like everything about them is contrived. The outfits, the masks, the fact that they all need to speak the same amount,
Their rip-off
basically.
finisher.
However, they are approaching Trainwreck interesting, I think. Which isn't good for them, obviously, but...
I mean, they're in the conversation of Retribution.
To watch, to laugh at, there's value.
But it's like been a fraction of the time of Retribution, though. So that's not good for them. If like it's already been this long and we're already considering them in that scope.
How many people are in the group? 5? 4? 4?
I think 4.
So you would think, at this point, there'd be a chance where I'd be like... Okay, they suck and whatever, but this guy at least shows... No, I got nothing.
Because they're not distinguishable other than that.
Nothing.
Like, the one guy's the wild card, but they don't actually do anything to, like, distinguish them.
And that's part of the problem, is I think they're trying to present them all at the same level, that it's... Although I guess Lennox was kind of ordained the leader, but
not...
You can't really tell in the vignettes.
But he has glasses.
And he reads books. That's why he's in charge.
Did he just stop rating? Did he just stop rating?
The loose cannon guy is just too unpredictable to be the leader, whichever one he is.
Saquon Sugars.
There you go, that they tell us.
Cutler James, is that his name? He's just tall, right?
Yeah.
And then... Or Reese's Griffin.
He's the one I guess I've been most impressed with.
But he's got like the worst name. That's a bad name.
I think this is where you showed up, right? Dempsey gives Tavion Heights his match for freedom. I don't remember specifics, but I remember being amused by Ren a little bit. Just her delivery of stuff. I've said it before. She will have a long career. I don't remember specifically
either, but she's pretty amusing.
She'll have a long career there. So Zarya and Sol Ruka take on Izzy Dame.
I don't remember anything
Tatum
from the match.
Paxley.
I just remember seeing their entrance because I was just like, no.
Dame gets bloodied at some point in this. I think it was her nose.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
And commentary, again, they are working so hard to fill in all the gaps between everything here. Like, wouldn't you say that, you know what I mean? Where it's Vic, again, spoon-feeding Booker and Corey. Mostly Booker. I think Corey can...
Corey is competent.
It's like, so would you say that Zarya and Ruka are... And it's just... They're telling us stuff they didn't bother to show us. And I get really irritated. And then it's a lot of it, and then it means they're not really calling any of the spots or the moves, so then I get more irritated. They're not calling
actual moves in an effort to like catch up with the
stuff they should have done.
The storyline gymnastics they got to do.
That's exactly correct. Paxley shoves Dame out of the way. So Zarya ends up spearing Ruka by accident to sort of further the, like, is Zarya sort of a little envious of Ruka's position right now. We get a Dame sit-out powerbomb
Ruka 2 belts.
to Sol Ruka for the win. Okay match. Both teams were trying tandem stuff to establish themselves as teams. Commentary was super annoying. And then later backstage, the Culling are happy with Paxley and Ava. Ava says that Izzy Dame is getting a North American title shot against Ruka because she just pinned Ruka in that match, I guess.
At the Bash or just on TV?
I can't remember.
I feel like you'd put that on the Bash. I don't know.
think so, maybe as well. Because they are trying to push Izzy Dame, right? So
and trying to counter AEW.
So maybe Zarya costs Ruka by accident, and we strap up Dame, and they can do their thing.
Yeah.
Hank and Tank come in, accusing the Culling of taking them out last week, because remember, they got attacked. I think
remember.
They were like, there was a black steel chair there, so it's you.
Because they're the only people with access to black
Spears
steel chairs.
is the chairman, so...
Yeah, but it's different if it's his chair. The chairman, it's like, I don't know.
So Paxley steps up and defends
Seems
her new
odd.
friends, and it leads to, I think we're getting a Hank and Tank and Spears Nico title match. Again,
At the back.
maybe. Details, don't know. The general manager, so Ava, I thought this was an interesting professional move by her, tells the Vanity Project basically they shouldn't be aligning themselves with Ethan Page. Like, way to be unbiased. Like,
Yeah, like, I understand why
you're employing these people, in theory.
and him, and Paige.
Yes.
I understand why she doesn't like Paige. Like, that's fine, but, like, you shouldn't be vocalizing him.
Yes. And actually, I think these guys kind of suit Paige.
I think so.
Like, they're young and cocky and whatever, and he's the veteran. I don't know. I kind of like
they're all kind of like cocky pricks, you know?
I'm very on board for them.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of the
trying it out.
Jackson Drake guy because I looked at his Instagram after he won the Evolve title. He seems okay too because he's in Vanity Project with them. Right? He's the guy that's
He's
not
the champion
swipe
right now.
He's the Evolve champion because there's him, Swipe Right, and then
another dude,
Donovan Bryce,
and then
I think.
woman,
the guy from Buck Hunt.
Oh yeah, and then
whatever the woman is, I don't know.
I don't remember her name. Ricky Saints wants a rematch, but Page says he will dictate the terms for everything involving the North American title. He says Saints will have to survive a Vanity Project gauntlet to eat to.
That's not a bad way to get them on the TV, though.
My typo says to eat a shot. I think I meant earn a shot.
Fix it.
And I think as soon as he announces that, the champion guy, Jackson, whatever, he starts like faking sick or something. I don't know. I wasn't sure what's going on.
That's kind of funny.
Saints agrees, but when he completes the gauntlet, he sets the stipulation for the title match, and Ava agrees with that.
What is it?
He'll tell us, I'm sure. He has to win the gauntlet first,
Okay,
and how could he?
Yeah, right.
Page, yes, I like him in Vanity Project, so this is fine. Andre Chase is ready to learn. This old dog is ready to learn some new tricks, I think is what he said. So he got Kale Dixon a singles match for next week, and the kids are accepting his apology and hug him. Chase is worried about being toxic, so he doesn't know if he's allowed to swear. They tell him if you can swear with them, but not at them, so he still gets his swearing gimmick in there. I don't know, man. I'm going to give it more time, but not super engaging so far.
It's funny. I was looking through the best of, and Chase U was your faction of the year last year.
That's wild. They were super fun, though.
But
they just became like the staple of NXT, like this comforting, what you're going to get.
Different people,
and it's a way to work. Like Hudson at first, I'm like, what are they doing? And I ended up liking that. The Holland stuff.
Now he's out, and Thea Hill is a grown asshole.
That's right. She is. Then, like I said earlier, we get a full-on like Slammiversary promo with Kelly Kincaid talking to Hendry and Santana, and it's like Hendry and Santana are unified in the sense that they want to defend TNA against Trick and whatever, but they're not. They have issues with each other because they're going to wrestle at Slam. I don't know. It just seems really weird. Like you're actually promoting TNA's pay-per-views on NXT.
Vince must be livid.
The computing is not working for me.
He allowed it a bit, but like I don't know.
This is weird though.
It is.
It's one thing to acknowledge another company exists, which was step one. Now they are promoting their pay-per-views on your weekly show.
I guess that's
my mind is blown.
The partnership.
It's crazy. We get your boy Jasper Troy. Damn it, Jasper Troy versus Inamura, who also has a first name.
What about Jasper Troy's promo?
Oh, he did get a little.
That's what I saw.
I didn't even make note of it. You loved it.
Because remember you saw his line was like so scripted. No,
it was very. The last line was.
it was like, you might be backed by destiny, but your destiny's mine.
Yeah.
I was saying to you, he reeks of so much. His presentation is so try hard and so lazy at the same time.
They're trying hard to make it look like he's not trying hard.
No, I mean like they're trying hard by like they're thrusting him into main events by like giving him title shots, putting him in big matches, having commentary and everyone talk about him like he just came in like Brock Lesnar and brutalized everybody. Yeah. But like his presentation is like he's in a boring gray jumpsuit. He has a dark and brooding theme.
He carries chains.
He carries chains to the ring. Like they're trying.
I don't see you carrying chains anywhere.
They're trying so hard to make him like an imposing threat over, but then like the presentation is so lazy and bland.
We're in the lazy era, it feels like a little bit.
But it's like, it's the whole thing with like NIL, LFG.
Like, he's big. We'll figure it out.
He plays
big.
Sports.
Do you know what? During the match, they tell us they know he's serious because he lost 30 pounds. So he lost
30 pounds of muscle.
He's the opposite of Cody. That's what I was thinking. So either if you gain muscle, that's a great thing, or you lose weight.
I think we love Cody Rhodes because that does
just
like,
change your body.
Those are two things I think we quote. Those are two of the things we probably quote the most. Is
14 pounds of muscle.
14 pounds of muscle and the baby to end racism.
Yes,
are the two things. But like Jasper Troy is like, it's just the NIL program and the LFG stuff and also where they churn out generic dude after generic dude who played X sport and has this generic generator name that has 15 syllables.
It's every now and then they scoop a whole bunch of them up and they throw them against the wall and they see if anyone sticks.
And it's like you have your rare success like Breaker or Femi, and then so it's like, oh, see, the program works. But then you have like Jasper Troy and all the like Lainey Reed, and who you had to ask me what her name was.
I did
when you were watching it. Like the fact that I know that and you don't is
not great,
not good. But like all these random guys, and I think there's some gems. Like I honestly think Swipe Right is a good get. They've picked up Sean Legacy and Jack Cartwheel.
Love Sean Legacy,
who I think are cool.
Yeah,
but.
So here's the thing. Guess what? The ones that you think are cool are almost all wrestlers. And the ones that you think are not cool are athletes trying to learn wrestling in front of a national audience.
Or just people.
And I get that they're going to do that because it's developmental. I get it, and that's fine, but it doesn't mean it's fun
they
to
don't
watch.
care about wrestling, but that also makes it less good.
They compare Jasper Troy to a wrestler in this. Would you care to guess who? I'll give you a hint. TNA legend. Like
Abyss?
Yes.
Because of the chains.
Yeah. And the size and the drab outfit.
And the finisher.
And the Stolas finisher.
Okay, but like, Abyss is like supposed to be some psychotic monster. Him wearing that drab outfit makes sense, but like this guy's just he's boring. Jasper Troy's boring.
Carries chains, dude. Heavy ones.
I don't know why you keep saying that. Like it's supposed to be like, that's honestly what I feel like they're doing. They mention these things like they're supposed to be something, and this guy's just
guys, I got an idea. They're in a meeting. What if
Jasper Troy
carries chains? They're like, oh my god.
Hey,
you got it.
Hey, remember when Boss Man used to do that slam finisher? What if he did an equally sucky version of that? Hey, remember, you know how Abyss carries chains and does a cool black hole slam?
Had an awesome black hole slam. Why don't you do half of that?
Why? You could have half of it. We don't want to go all the way. But like, he's not even like outright atrocious like a great Khali or Kozlov or something like that. But he's not good, and he's so boring. And it's like the fact that I know that they're trying hard with him I'll hate him more just because of that.
Yeah,
it's like the Roman Reigns effect, except Roman Reigns was never a bad wrestler.
He lost here, so that's good for you.
That is, I knew that because they taped it. So I knew I could have told you this last week that he lost.
So I figured Inamura wins with a splash.
That's fine because I think Inamura's
the match was pretty boring and basic. There were rest holds in there. Javon Evans attacks Troy after, which makes sense. They'll go off into that story.
The fact that like you're saying too, Javon was an indie guy.
Yes,
they're like they should be backing because I think Javon is awesome.
But he's skinny, and I don't know the last time I saw him carrying chains. So
to my knowledge, when he goes to the ring, he's not
chains.
Carrying anything.
So, like useless.
Yeah, but like. The fact that they're going to put these guys up against each other and push Jasper Troy boggles my mind.
Do you think he's going over Evans?
Yes.
Oh, boy. That sucks.
I agree because I think Javon's awesome. And I told you, if they were to push Javon in the North American division...
He's perfect for it.
One, he's perfect for it. Two, that would be my Fraxium. I would watch his matches.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would like gladly watch him because he's a guy I would have watched in Black and Gold. He's
He
a guy.
have a feud with Sean Legacy.
Yeah,
That's what he should
like
do.
if he was in a spot where I knew he'd be getting on PLEs more often, I'd watch him like I watch Fraxium because Fraxium were like
R.I.P.
reliable.
Fraxium.
I miss Fraxium. I so badly wish they came at the right time of NXT.
I know.
Because that would have been.
That's part of why we
legendary.
love them so much. They
they
were like a
were-
little taste of Black and Gold.
They were that Black and Gold juice that I missed,
Yes.
right? And I think Javon is kind of like that too. Like we didn't have a lot of flippy guys like that other than Ricochet back in the day.
Yeah.
But like, just he is a wrestler and he's good. He's entertaining and like he just feels like someone who would have fit in then.
Even his
'Cause he can
promos
go.
are good, man.
And he's got his own style. Right? Like
He does.
he's got everything they want. Like they seem to only want a new Rey Mysterio when it's like the Latin demographic, obviously. But he's like in that vein where
They can't see past race, dude. So there's no way they could compare him to somebody of a different race. Like be like he could be the next Rey Mysterio because everyone in that room will be like, "Buddy's black."
Where's his mask?
Right? They can't.
Yeah.
They are so fixated on race and that they can't make
But
comparisons
then they don't
across
seem to
races.
actually want to make a new Rey Mysterio.
Other than comparing Jasper Troy to Abyss, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But who knows what race Abyss was under that mask, to be fair.
Yeah.
Anyways, the only other thing
Right.
the only other thing on NXT was Jordan Grace cuts a promo in the ring about stuff. I don't even know. I was so just like I was watching the last bit outside in the sun, taking notes on my phone. So
I was telling you, as if they can't telegraph her versus JC Jane Moore.
I
They're
know.
making Jordan Grace versus Masha first anniversary title for title. Or sorry, not Grace, but it's like Masha faces the winner of that match, sorry.
Right.
And title for title. As if she's gonna face JC Jane over someone she has history with.
Right. So good old Fatal Influence come out. They attack Jordan Grace and Monroe, whose first name escapes me. Blake. Wow. Comes out to make the save, and Ava comes out, and guess what?
Tag team match playa.
Oh, how did you know? Because
Holla holla holla.
there's nothing predictable that comes
Playa.
out of this. But
Well, then they're gonna go 1-on-1 with the Undertaker.
so here's where we go. I don't like what they're doing with Monroe
Mariah May.
already. It's not Mariah May, because Mariah May was freaking amazing, and this version of her is fine.
Very selfishly, I hope that they butcher her so hard that she gets out and
But I
comes
like
back.
her so much, I don't want her to have to suffer, but
It might be necessary because then it's like you realize, oh, AEW is the place to be. Because okay, I know it's really soon, but look at how she was treated at AEW.
I know.
And like to talk about what you were talking about with Lashley, they're gonna pigeonhole her in the gimmick and like make her say what they want to say. But like the creative freedom she had, no doubt, I have to imagine helped with her gimmick because like her promos were like she was batting 1,000 on that. She didn't miss.
Truly talented people like her are not helped by being over scripted and
Yeah.
overproduced, right? Some, I guarantee there's a lot of wrestlers that need that and benefit from it because
Especially
they're
the
not
NIL people.
very talented.
Yeah, but
she's a star.
She's so unbelievably talented. And like she was booked as a top star. She was champion for like probably half her tenure there. She was in one of the women's division's biggest storylines in company history.
Ever, yes.
And like now look at her. Now she's not it's not even the fact that they gave her this Marilyn Monroe, Sabrina Carpenter-esque character where she's like the glamour, she's in a bathtub, she's doing cutting scripted promos or she's a baby face.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It doesn't make sense.
Why?
And she just
Did they? No, because if they took her, they had to have known how good she is and what she's done. But did they not watch a single thing she did over there? Did they not know?
I think they think this is doing something different and innovative when I feel like she's just rolling off the assembly line and they think because they put out a cartoon thingy of her and whatever that it's so like different. And I'm like, I feel like this is Tiffany Stratton.
I hate her theme song too.
Like, I don't know, man.
I really don't like it.
It's in its infancy, so there's a chance it becomes cool. And you know me, I want to love NXT. So if
And
it's
Mariah
cool,
May.
I'll be happy. But
if it sucks, I hope it sucks hard so that she gets out because
I wonder how long she signed for.
I hope not that bad.
But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. And I don't know. Don't think I have anything else to
I have
discuss.
one more thing I want to show you because we can just loop it on now for figuring, but because last week they showed prototypes for the TNA figures made by Powertown.
Okay.
And So the pre-order for these
Powertown?
Yeah, is the company.
Clever.
These went up for pre-order in April 2024. They got revealed even before that. So like this company's been like dragging it through the mud, but these are not.
Do they have a reputation for making figures?
They have made ultras. The series is ultras, and they've made these of like they made territories. Like they made Kerry Von Erich, I think Vern Gagne, Stan Hansen was one, Bruiser Brody. But like here's what these are looking like. It's not. That is not
great.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Moose.
Okay.
Like here's the close-up one. It's not good. I'll have
not good.
I'll have to plug in some images for you to put in maybe. But
that
like,
looks more like Zeus to me than
here's
Moose.
the Screaming Head. That's not good either.
What are they doing?
I would argue that Jordan Grace is maybe the best one.
Uh-oh. I mean...
What with that face? That's not Jordan Grace.
The face is terrible.
That's
the
not
hair
Jordan
and the
Grace.
body's fine.
I actually think that Eddie Edwards is probably the worst.
You know I love me some Eddie Edwards.
Like, that's bad. The face is like so. You know how WWE
The face looks more like
the
somebody from
expression and
Gallus?
lack of real texture makes it look like Eugene.
He looks like Gallus to me.
But like, the WWE uses the True Effects stuff.
Yeah.
And this looks like the opposite.
I was just gonna say what were they? Power Flex or
Powertown?
Powertown do not have that technology. Oh,
Poor old walking weapon. Look at this.
Doesn't look good all around.
Like this is not. He looks like C.W. Anderson.
That's tough.
Like these are not good. They also did their Series 2 Ultras, which is like
it does look like C.W. Anderson.
They had like Junkyard Dog, Wahoo McDaniel, Medusa, Kamala, but like even like the Kamala's not as bad, but still just like not.
It's not.
I don't know. They're really, and the fact that the crazy thing too is we're in 2025 and they're making figures with single jointed arms.
Who's gonna be selling those?
Powertown, like their
website, not in brick.
You know how much these are? I think USD. I think they're like $50.
What? I was gonna say $24.99 tops.
No, they're like, and it's been like over a year. And like they're like their ultimate elite style, but then they have single jointed arms, and I think single jointed knees too, which is crazy to me because we're living in an age where like the double jointed arms and especially double jointed knees have been like a staple for a while. So it's like I don't know what they're doing.
A generation behind to keep things cheap. Probably
they're making also Remco style figures, which I think look a lot cooler because they're like. I'll show you these because they're a different style. They're this style. I don't know who used to make them, but like a lot of different companies do this kind of style now, where it's like these kind of figures. It's like the WWE Superstars line.
Yeah, I remember those.
Those are fine, but like these, because this is interesting lineup. They have like Santana, Bobo Brazil, Nick Bockwinkel of AWA fame.
Bobo Brazil.
They made a 2-pack of Magnum TA, Tully Blanchard, NWA feud. Missing Link, if you remember.
I do.
Who he is. They have Duggan. And the Rock and Roll Express, like, so those are different, but like the TNA ones are absolutely atrocious. Like, I don't know if I've seen like major figures that bad ever since Super 7 made the New Japan figures, because like they had like the Ospreay and Okada, and they looked atrocious.
I just recently watched a Rock and Roll Express versus the Midnight Express, and it was good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we still did the 2000 WCW on YouTube.
Oh yeah, check that out. Anything else?
I don't think so.
We got a quick little figuring it out in there. That's good. I'll have to add a little timestamp.
It's almost Comic-Con season, so then it'll get a beefy one.
All right.
Should be interesting.
It's going to end it for 259. We will be back next week with all the usual stuff. Plus, we'll be previewing All In, I believe, right?
So it will be All In, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it'll be difficult, because All In's like midday Saturday, so it's
Is it?
Maybe we put out the preview earlier.
Yeah, we can do that this week. We can do a separate episode or like bonus content where it's just
after Dynamite at least.
Making predictions. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you back here for 260. I hope you have a great week. And until then, everybody, take care.